Leche. 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 Get 'em, Jimmy, where Low Shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and Low Baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
Say hey everyone, welcome into another edition. I was going to say the first edition, but obviously we've had some editions of Betting with Bouquett. Appreciate everyone jumping in the chat nice and early for us. We've got a loaded schedule today, a whole lot of fun. So loaded that I didn't even get to finish my graphics before the show. So I'll be making graphics during the show because luckily for you guys and myself, we've got some lovely guests lined up today as well. So today should be interesting. Appreciate everyone as always. Shout out to Raw Dog, became a member yesterday. So shout out to you, my guy. We appreciate that. Ryan Muller, appreciate you, my friend. Jose's going to win us some money this week. I hope so. That's the goal. As many of you guys know, I am going to Vegas next week, and this is a little trial run. You know, I have not been making many bets because I've been leading up to Vegas. And now this week, we're going to let it loose, make our bets, see how we do. Hopefully, we can transition that into Las Vegas success as well. Would love for Vegas to pay for the trip and not me. Christopher Commentini, what's up, my man? Dav fan. Yeah, Chris, I was still sleeping. I actually had to take my parents to the airport this morning. They had a 4 a.m. flight for some odd reason. They love taking these red eyes. So I had to take them to the airport at like 3 in the morning this morning. And I bring that up to say it's pretty crazy that I wake up and, of course, I wouldn't say wake up. I was awake when John Heyman tweeted the news, Carlos Correa going to the New York Metropolitans. And I know this is a multi-sport show, so I'll mention this real quick, and we'll talk about the gambling action coming on later today. But Carlos Correa coming on and just being like, you know what, the West Coast, I'm done with it. No West Coast action for me. He chooses to go from the Giants to the Mets. There was a disagreement apparently on the physicals, and obviously we'll have more news when that comes out. But the Giants and Scott Boras and Carlos Correa couldn't see eye to eye, so he makes a late night switch. And man, oh man, Stevie Cohen pays for it, gets his a third baseman, I guess, Carlos Correa has now become. So it's going to be very, very fun to see how that works out. I cannot wait for the introductory press conference to see what they say, how that switch happened. But man, oh man, it is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, Carlos Correa just cannot go to the West Coast anymore. The Dodgers fans already hate him. Giants fans have a good reason to hate him now. And it's going to be very interesting to see how all that plays out. But very excited to see how the Mets go. And obviously the Mets have to be a World Series favorite because of all the money they've spent. Kenny V, appreciate you guys. You guys saying I started we're 1 minute late. Don't worry, guys. We here. Shout out to you, Kenny V. RVD 420 Moose money in here as well. Shout out to Moose. I still am not a fan of yours, Moose, because of what the Padres have done to me this offseason. But I appreciate you for coming on. Kadesh, Alex Hills, as my guy Jimmy the Bag would say, serious business. Because that's what we are getting into, serious business. Gary Tenebra, Dan Kelly, North Ender, B Lab, Christopher Commentini. Oh, and one Jimmy the Bag watching the show from Victoria, BC. Now, when Jimmy said, I'm going to Victoria, I had to. Well, I didn't even look this up. He said, I'm going to West Coast. So I automatically, he's going to California. Oh, and then he said Victoria. I was like, yeah, I don't know where that is. But I'm glad that you are relaxing, having fun. Jimmy, tell Carter I said to stop climbing on things. I appreciate you for watching. Spenny Penny, Stimmy OG, Sydney Plays Horses, JT Eel, Don Play, Billy Brisbane, Ryan Muller, and Franco Harris. RIP, one of the GOATs. We obviously all know the Immaculate Reception, so RIP to him. 72, long life for a football player, but RIP to him. And we start this show. So, like I said, we have a full day of action here today. And obviously, I'm not an NHL expert, I'm not an NBA expert. So, we bring on our lovely guests here to guide us through, and it is going to be a lot of fun. And Carter watching the show too. So, Carter, I hope all these colors entertain you, Carter. I hope they all entertain you. And maybe you can decide who your favorite hockey team is tonight as well. All right. Let's start it off by bringing on our first guest. I'm very excited to talk to him. I see him almost every day on NCAA Net Profit. You can see him on NBA Pub Hub as well. Our college football guy as well. A Swiss Army knife. This guy, a Canadian Army knife, I should say. I don't know if those knives would be dull though, since they're from Canada. But let's talk to our friend Ian Cameron in the house. Ian, how are you?
I mean, Jimmy in the bag in the chat seems like he's just as proud of you, Jose, hosting this damn show today as anything his own kid would do. So you better not take that lightly.
Well, yeah, I try not to. Bobano. Carter will outshine me very soon. Very soon. Once he gets on skates, that will probably be better than anything I could give Jimmy. But if I can hold down his show for at least 1 week while he's away, that's the least I could do. So I'm very excited to talk to you and talk all these games. Bobano, you look so clear today. Oh my God, this camera quality is insane. Oh my goodness.
Same camera I've used for 5 years. I can't explain why that would be.
Well, Bobano, you're glowing today. You look good, and I think it's going to be a good show today. So let's get right into our NHL conversation. And we'll start off with Tampa Bay, Detroit. And, Bobano, I did some research. Would I be unsuccessful in finding out all of our goalies? Because not many of them are confirmed. Yes, but that is okay because I've got you, Bobano, here as well. So we have Detroit and Tampa Bay, and we've got one Ville Husso starting for the Red Wings confirmed. According to Daily Faceoff, that's what I was using off. And Ville Husso, I looked up my man because whenever I hear his name come up on our program, it is just negatory, derogatory things. He is not a very good goalie, and I looked at his game logs. Last 4 games, all L's. His last win was actually against this very Tampa Bay Lightning team, which I was kind of surprised to see him play that well. 44 saves, 2 goals allowed. I don't know. I can't trust him to go back to back and play well against the Lightning again. But minus 155, obviously a little aggressive here. Maybe I could look at a regulation line. But Bobano, what do you think about this first game here? We got our lovely Tampa Bay Lightning, who have been in our lives for a long time now, versus the Red Wings.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for Detroit, they've got the rest advantage, if you will, the scheduling advantage. They've been off since Monday night, a 4-3 overtime loss to Washington. That's a real shame for them, actually, because they played a great hockey game, but Washington ends up getting it in overtime. And actually, Husso was in net that night, played pretty well, faced 42 shots, and it gave Detroit a chance. But Detroit's struggling right now, Jose, 6 straight losses for them. They've cooled off. They've definitely had struggles in their own end here these last few games that they've lost. They've had some bad nights in their own end. Like I said, it could have actually been worse against Washington if not for a very strong performance in net from Ville Husso. So you've got Tampa Bay here in this game on a back-to-back after a 4-1 loss to Toronto last night. You got to believe Tampa Bay, even on a back-to-back, is really going to play well tonight, better. I don't think they showed a lot of shots of the head coach of the Lightning, Cooper, on the bench last night. Didn't look happy. They got thoroughly dominated. I mean, if it's not for Vasilevsky last night, it's probably 5-1, 6-1 for Toronto. That is how thorough and how dominant the Leafs were. I mean, the Lightning did nothing for most of that game. It was completely dominant performance by the Leafs. It was one of the worst games you'll see out of Tampa Bay. The only goal was kind of a fluke. They scored off a face-off. It was a scramble play, and Nemesnikov ended up getting the puck before anybody on the Leafs could find it. So you would think Tampa Bay is going to play a lot better tonight. If you actually look Tampa Bay off a loss, this has been a trend that going back years has been very strong. They don't lose 2 in a row very often. And you look at their games this year where they're off a loss. They scored 5 and beat Columbus 5-2. They beat Florida 3-2 in overtime. They beat Anaheim 4-2. They beat Buffalo 5-3 off a loss. Then they lost 2 in a row, which is very rare. They bounced back from the second of those 2 losses, beating Washington 6-3. They beat St. Louis 5-2 off a loss to Boston. They beat Philly 4-1 off a loss to Boston. They beat Nashville 5-2 off a loss to Detroit. So the theme is Tampa Bay usually bounces back and wins after a loss, and they score goals when they do it. So I think the team total for the Lightning is a good look tonight. It's 3.5 here at around even money. I like that. That'll be a play for me. Tampa Bay team total over 3.5 in this game, where they not only don't play good, they get shut down and they get held to 1 goal. This is just such a good team with so many different weapons offensively. It's hard to imagine that's going to happen 2 games in a row to them. So I like the Lightning here over 3.5 team total, -102. And I'm going to do, I think, a split here with the full game over, because I could see that getting there as well, especially with Elliott in net. Elliott is, to me, is one of those goalies that he's very capable, but don't record. His last start was very good against Columbus. But keep in mind, Columbus isn't scoring goals right now. It's a very dormant, struggling offense. Nashville was his start before that. Nashville wasn't scoring goals at the time. Nashville was right in the throes of a big-time scoring drought as a team. So, yes, he's played better in the last 2 starts, but Columbus and Nashville were both struggling offensively when Brian Elliott faced them. So I think it could be a little bit different here tonight against Detroit. Still got a below average, numbers, even with that 7-1 record as a starter. Elliott, 3.09 goals against, 902 save percentage. So I have 2 bets here. Tampa Bay team total over 3.5 -102 and over 6.5.
Yeah, I can't argue with the Tampa Bay team total. I mean, I like that a lot. And by the way, shout out to Danny Lopez. My contributions to the NHL segments will be a lot of yes, yup.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, hey, it makes sense to me. I can't argue with you. I can't argue with you there. So I like the look there. Tampa Bay team total makes a whole lot of sense, like I mentioned. It's kind of just reminds me of Nut Flush Allen. You think the team's going to win, take the team total, so you eliminate some of the exterior factors in it. So I like that look. Shout out to you, Bobano. Let's talk about game 2 here. New Jersey Devils versus the Florida Panthers. Sergei Bobrovsky versus who knows? It looks like we might get Mackenzie Blackwood. I think we've got from Daily Faceoff here, but obviously unconfirmed. I've done some refreshing to see if we can get any more confirms, but that is what we have so far. Sergei, man, I mean, we all know the story of Sergei. If I know the story of Sergei Bobrovsky, everyone knows the story. He's the guy comes into Florida, gets his big contract, horrid. Spencer Knight gets drafted high. The back and forth here. 2 and 3 last 5 for Florida. I mean, they've kind of been meddling, but they got hammered against Boston last time out. Bobana, who was the goalie for that game? Was that Sergei or was that Spencer?
It was Spencer Knight, and he did obviously look. And he's a great goalie. He's had a nice season, but look, I mean, he's first start in a very long time, and the Bruins are very good offense, especially on home ice. Lend him any favors. They were horrendous in that game. I don't think there's things to worry about with Spencer Knight. It was a bad night for the entire team. The collective of the Florida Panthers defensively were a shit show, were a train wreck. So you don't hold that against Spencer Knight. That being said, I'm surprised Paul Maurice has not given him an opportunity to get right back in the net after a game like that. Honestly, I'm surprised they're going to Bobrovsky here.
Really?
I still think Spencer Knight long-term is the better goalie. And actually this year he has been the better goalie. If you look at the numbers, even with that just nightmare night aside in the game against Boston, but it is what it is. He's the coach. I'm not. So I think Florida is the lean for me in this game. I just kind of was disappointed with the price. I mean, -140. I think if I were to bet it, I'd look in regulation. You'll get a better price that way. I mean, it would be the Panthers or nothing for me. I mean, you're talking about a team off an embarrassing loss, 7-3. And the last 2 times they've been off a loss, they've played a lot better. The very next time out, they beat New Jersey last week in Jersey 4-2. So it is a short turnaround revenge spot for the Devils in this game, but they're struggling. I want no part of them right now. When the team's just floundering like this, they need to give me evidence that they're going to turn things around. And this Devils team's lost 6 in a row. They've stopped scoring. Really, I mean, and offensively, this team, they did score, 3 against the Rangers. and 4 against the Islanders at the start of this losing streak. But the last 4 games in this losing streak, this team has scored a grand total of 5 goals in the last 4 games. That was never supposed to be a problem for this team. Our concerns going into the season were, could they defend at a high level? Could the goaltending be there for this team? We never questioned their ability to score. Well, now we are, and other than Jack Hughes right now, nobody else is firing right now. Heeshier's kind of been quiet. Jesper Bratt's done very little during this stretch. They haven't, Sharon Govich, his offense has dried up. I mean, it goes on and on and on with what's going on with this team offensively. Zetterlund's not given them really much since he joined the top line. They're not scoring right now, and that's a grave concern because they need to score goals. They need to. They're an
they seem like a
defensive
finesse team.
Yeah,
they seem like a finesse team. And by the way, shout out to Jack Hughes, by the way, for the 6-minute shift. I saw
yes.
that a record breaker, because I know, here's the things I know about hockey. A 2-minute shift, you're in hell. You're in absolute hell in a 2-minute shift. You put up a 6-minute. So shout out to Hughes. I have a lot of respect for him in that aspect. And the thing that really kept me off of this, Bobana, was truly the kind of double revenge spot that you mentioned here. The Devils lost to the Florida Panthers just recently, their last game 4-2, and it was in Florida as well. Or no, sorry, it was at home in Jersey. So they're going to Florida now. Yep. So now that scares me. I mean, I don't want to bet against the Panthers after getting shit pumped by my Bruins. So it's ultimately a stay off spot for me. Bobana, do you have anything official there?
Well, it's funny. Blackwood's probably going to start tonight because he actually came into the game last night in relief of Vanacek. 4-1 loss to Carolina. Gave up 1 goal on 7 shots faced. They put Blackwood in. They pulled Vanacek, who had a rough start last night. If he starts, it's going to be his first start since, let me just go back and look here. Yeah, November the 3rd against Edmonton. I'm not a big Mackenzie Blackwood fan. I've said that repeatedly. I think he's way too erratic. He's way too inconsistent. The over 6.5, I would lean strong that way. Absolutely. I think I will make that official, actually, over 6.5 in this game with the Devils and the Panthers. I think New Jersey's too talented to keep going like this. 5 goals in the last 4 games. And I'm not convinced the Florida Panthers are the type of defensive team that are capable of shutting teams down right now. I mean, they give up 7 to Boston. They give up 4 to Pittsburgh. They shut out Columbus, big deal. Like I said, Columbus has not scored at all for the last, week or two. They've been in a horrible offensive funk. They give up 5 to Seattle, 4 to Tampa. 5 to Winnipeg. I mean, there's been some rough nights defensively. You would think they want to tighten up. That's the theory, right? You get blown out 7-3. You want to tighten up, play tighter defense. But I think if you're New Jersey, you're going to want to push the pace and get your offense going here. So, and Bobrovsky in net for Florida, which is confirmed. I don't trust him. Probably Blackwood for New Jersey. Goalies I don't trust. And teams I trust more offensively. I think this is the night the Devils will come alive a little bit offensively. I don't know about win the game because I think Florida will play strong after that loss to Boston. I lean Panthers, but I think I like that total over 6.5 a little bit more.
Beautiful. Dat fan mentioning that over 6.5 there. So are you making that official then, Bobana?
Yes, I am. Yep.
All right. So the over 6.5 there. And what line were you getting that at? Apologies.
That would be minus. Let me just take a look here. I want to make sure I've because I haven't bet it yet, but I will. That's why I made it official. Minus 115 bet MGM.
Beautiful. Minus 115 for the over 6.5 there. Beautiful, Bobana. And I'm glad you coming. That's why we call you High Volume Bobana. I knew you'd have some picks for us here, Bobana. Oh, yeah. I knew you'd come.
7-1 last night. I mean, how many hockey games were there last night? 8 games on the card last night. 8 plays. I had 7, actually 9. One of them pushed. 9 plays. 7-1-1 last night. So great hockey.
Hey, I'm glad I'm getting you off a good night too. And by the way, shout out to Spenny Penny. He said last night favorites went 8-0. 8-0 last night too. So be aware of that, baby. You can take some underdogs today because it obviously will adjust. But let's move on to everyone's favorite team to talk about here in this chat, especially because of this.
La plus grande franchise dans la histoire du hockey.
The Montreal Canadiens versus the Colorado Avalanche. Georgiev versus Jake Allen, allegedly. Allegedly, we'll see if that ends up coming through here. And I just hear Jimmy the Bag whenever I see the Colorado Avalanche, I see their colors. I just think of Jimmy the Bag saying unders, unders, unders since McKinnon was out. And it seems like they've caught on a little bit. 5.5. I don't see many 5.5s in the NHL now, Boban. It feels like a year ago, 2 years ago, it was strictly 5.5 team or totals. And now it's always 6.5 to 6. And we see a 5.5. That seems very rare. So I couldn't move on the under there. I really wanted to just to shout out my guy, but I couldn't. 4-1 were the last, or 4-1 their last 5. The Avalanche are. This is a good team. Obviously, we know what they do. Even with McKinnon, they can still roll. They won 1-0 against the Islanders on the 19th. That's classic. That's exactly what they would want to do right there. The Islanders obviously are a defensive team in their own right with a really good goalie, but they got that lead. They shut it down. And that's kind of what Jimmy has been talking about for the last 2 weeks. So shout out to him. On the other side, we've got the Canadiens, as we say here, Los Habitants, as again Jimmy would say, 3-2 in their last 5, or sorry, 2-3 their last 5. I don't feel great about ever betting the Canadiens. Really, just their last win against the Arizona Coyotes in overtime. Congratulations, they're just as bad as you guys. So I had nothing here, Boban. Did you have anything in this game?
I might do a little bit of a flyer on the Montreal Canadiens, believe it or not, tonight at a big underdog price. If you look at this Colorado team, they aren't doing anything easily right now. None of these wins are comfortable. None of these wins we're really rolling over the opponent. And remember, they've been banged up for a while. Nathan McKinnon's been out for a few weeks now, and he's still not coming back anytime soon. They've been missing Josh Manson, Bowen Byram on the blue line. They've got a bunch of injuries around this team. Landeskog is still not going to be back till the new year. Now they've gotten a little bit healthier the last the last week or so. Gerard came back, Lehkonen came back, Big Val Nichushkin came back, but this team is still, not exactly a team that's rolling right now. I mean, they're winning games, but just doing enough to get by. I mean, they're 4-1 in their last 5 games. Took St. Louis to overtime to beat them. They barely squeaked past the Philadelphia Flyers at home 3-2. I mean, they had to hang on, and Philly almost tied it in the final seconds. Buffalo comes into Colorado and beats them 4-2. Colorado beats Nashville 3-1, but again, that was a very close, competitive game. And then the last game at home against the Islanders, 1-0 victory in a shootout. So they're not winning easily. These are close games. These are tight games. And the one thing about Montreal is, yes, they had been struggling, but they get the win, albeit it was Arizona, one of the worst teams, 3-2 in overtime. But they've actually played a little bit better on the road lately. They actually have more road wins than home wins. Colorado's got more road wins than home wins. So, I think Montreal's competitive tonight because there's just no recent evidence of this Colorado team blowing out the opponent. So I'm going to probably look in some form. It won't be a huge play for me, but, plus 236, in that range is what I'm seeing right now with Montreal, or plus 240, I should say, at Pinnacle. Yeah, I'll be taking a small flyer on Montreal at that price. No question.
Beautiful. Bobano, again, the question, are you making that official? I'll make that official.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's not hard to get me onto a underdog.
It's official play for the show. I just want to point out to people it'll be a little bit lesser unit bet or lesser amount bet than some of the others I've mentioned. Yep.
No, I totally understand that. I love the bet. I love big underdogs, and it makes sense. Obviously, no superstar, potential for the Avalanche without McKinnon there. Makes it a little more easier to swallow. I understand they have Cale Makar, who is very, very good. But like Jimmy again said, and I'll keep saying like Jimmy says when it comes to NHL. But like he said, he's not Bobby Orr when he doesn't have Nate McKinnon out there. He's to feed him the puck and feed him the puck at Birthway. So I like it. Montreal.
And you might be wondering too why this total's 5.5. Both teams are trending under. That's why. No question about that. Montreal's gone under the total 5-1-1 in their last 7 games. Colorado's gone under in 7 straight. 7 straight Colorado Avalanche games have gone under the total, and they've kind of transformed the way they've played with all these injuries to more of a tighter defensive style of hockey, and it's translated to 7 straight unders for Colorado. That's why this total's 5.5 in this game. But yeah, and don't forget the last time Montreal was here in Denver last January against Colorado. Colorado was minus 650 favorites in that game. One of the biggest favorites you'll ever see in an NHL regular season game. Minus 650 was Colorado against Montreal. Montreal was really struggling at that time, and Colorado needed overtime to beat Montreal 3-2 that night. So don't be surprised if Montreal gives them a game tonight.
Beautiful. I can't wait. I'll be watching the group. What does he say again? I can't remember. I forgot what my man Jeff Gordon said.
La plus grande franchise dans la histoire du hockey.
La plus grande franchise. That's what I'll be watching.
He got roasted for that. At least he gave it a try to speak in French.
Yeah, and he's not there anymore, I believe. I think he's fired as well. So
no, he's still there. He's with the.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. Good for him. I'm glad he still has his job. Good.
He's the president now, and of course, he hired Kent Hughes to be the GM. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What a horrible decision. Am I right, Bobano? Terrible. Ugh. I definitely know. Nashville Predators, Chicago Blackhawks here. I was about to call them the Black Sox here. And again, shout out to everyone that's watching. As always, appreciate your comments. Picks from Dave. Good question. I don't know what it could be, but good question. Picks. When you find out, let me know. Picks from Dave. Jerry JB, appreciate you guys. Rocco Rogers as well, looking at that no goal first 10. Been waiting for those markets to open for him, but he likes that. Shout out to him and Christopher commentating, mentioning that Jimmy been on those unders as well. So yes. That would be, that would be a good move. You're on it. So shout out to him. All right. So let's talk about Nashville, Chicago. Peter Mrazek, shout out to the former Carolina Hurricane. I used to think he was good, but now he's on the Blackhawks. 7-19-4 are these Blackhawks. And obviously, the last 2-3 years have just been a disaster. I have no desire on betting on them. We'll see who we have in net for the Predators here, but ultimately, every time I see it's UC Saros, unconfirmed, but we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, 0-5 their last 5. Chicago are. They lost 7-1 to the Rangers last time out on the 18th. Do I really want to bet on that team? And maybe there'll be like that angry, motivated factor. Maybe you can take a team total on there. You think they can come bounce back here against UC Saros, who, from my understanding, is not that great. You know, the Nashville Predators are 1-4. Their last 5-2. They come off a win, an overtime win against Edmonton, which I'm sure was a big win for them as well, because everyone wants to beat Edmonton and Connor McJesus. So ultimately, I guess I lean towards perhaps an over here, over 6, and a Blackhawks team total, just because it could be so low. I would need a 2.5, but I would look that up and see. Bobano, let's pass the rock to you. What do you think about this shitty Blackhawks team, and how fast is Patrick Kane going to get up out of there?
Yeah, I feel bad for my colleague on the Ice Guys NHL show every day at 2 p.m. Eastern that we do, Alex P. Smith. He's a Blackhawks fan. He's obviously going to be watching a lot of bad hockey with this Blackhawks team this year. And, it's not going to be fun, to watch this season continuing to play out for them the way it has. It's been absolutely dreadful. I mean, what else can you say for the Blackhawks? And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better for them either. I mean, you look at this team and the issues they continue to have. Most of them, first of all, they can't score all of a sudden. That's a problem.
That's an issue.
Yeah. And second of all, too, you've got a team. You've basically got a team also that's just, they're just having a real tough time right now, scoring consistently and keeping the puck out of the net. So if you're not doing either one of those, you're not going to win hockey games. If you're not scoring, you're not keeping the puck out of your own net, you're going to have trouble. I don't know off the top of my head what the exact stat is, but there's actually 3 Nashville bets, by the way, that I've made on this game. 3 Nashville bets that I've made on this game. And look, Nashville's not a team that, it's not like we can really, really trust Nashville either, but they did snap the losing streak against Edmonton, 4-3 overtime win the other night. You know how I feel about these situations when a team snaps a losing streak. You maybe get on a run, you get some confidence back, a little bit more fun going to the rink for practice. And I think you'll see that for Nashville here tonight against Chicago. And I think it'll translate into a very nice performance here tonight for them. They've owned Chicago 8-2 in the last 10 meetings versus the Blackhawks. So there's 3 bets. And if you've been betting the opponent of Chicago, first period puck line, you are just raking in the cash this year. They have been brutal in terms of starting hockey games, especially at home. It's been even worse for them. So I'm going to go here with 3 bets. Nashville, I think this is a Nashville spot all the way gain some confidence. This is a Chicago team that is completely fragile and lacking confidence with a Civ goaltender in net too tonight, Peter Mrazek. I mean, he has just been brutal since he's come back from that groin injury. When he's in net, he's not good. And when he's not in net, it's because of another groin injury. I mean, that groin of his is being held together with duct tape and glue at this stage of his career. I mean, it's just one groin injury after another for this guy. And then when he is in there, he's been terrible in that. And his lateral movement post to post is shockingly bad. Like, obviously, we know he's had a bunch of groin injuries, but he looks like some kind of old man in the wheel, trying to move from side to side in the crease. I mean, it's just not good at all. And Mrazek's confirmed as the starting goaltender tonight, too, for Chicago in this game. So 3 bets for me. I'm going to go with Nashville first period puck line -0.5 plus 150 at Bet365. It's Nashville -0.5 plus 150 first period puck line at Bet365. That's number 1. The second one is going to be Nashville in regulation, which is -116 at Pinnacle. So that's Nashville in regulation, -116 at Pinnacle. And the third bet is going to be Nashville team total as well in this one. Nashville team total over 3.5. And I believe that is +106 at Pinnacle. So there you go. Preds first period puck line, Preds regulation, Preds team total over 3.5.
Beautiful. Some Predators action today. Do you have any feelings about UC Saros? Is he indeed bad?
He's been inconsistent this year. He really has. He hasn't been great. 10-9, 2.84 goals against average, 911 save percentage. Those are slightly above average numbers, basically. Slightly. But he could be better than that. We've seen better than that from UC Saros. He did play well against Edmonton, and he had lost 5 starts in a row, much like the team. He had lost 5 starts in a row prior to the win against Edmonton. Maybe that win gets him back on the beam, just like the team. So we'll see how he plays tonight. It should be Saros in net tonight.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I will make official Nashville first period -0.5. I got it at +143 at our friends on Bet Online. So that will be my first official play for this game. Team total over 2.5 for the Blackhawks was -125. So I'm not going to lay that much juice. They're such a shitty hockey team. And Bobano's 3 bets on Nashville are easy enough to get me off of it. So let's move on to the next game. And shout out to Swiss Horton, by the way. Little Swiss Horton play of the day. Oilers puck line, Predators money line +129 there. So shout out to Swiss for joining us, and shout out to Not Flush Allen as well, congratulating Mets fans. Let's talk about Edmonton, Dallas. Good game here. I love, people aren't surprised when I say I love Edmonton. They're probably my second favorite hockey team. I have a McJesus jersey. I was told he's the next guy coming in. I said, all right, well, I'm going to be his fan for the rest of his career. And everyone seems to be right. He's that good. Obviously, we know that. But it's that case with Messi. We saw in the World Cup. They've got that one guy, but the pieces around him are never good enough. And Messi finally got his. We'll see if Connor can finally do his thing. Edmonton, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Ian. They started off good. 17-14-2 now. They're 1-4 the last 5. 2 overtime. Well, I should say an overtime loss against Nashville. The aforementioned Nashville 4-3 we just talked about. And then a 4-3 loss against Anaheim. They've got one player that I know of, and he is known for doing cool goals. So I know they stink. So it's just weird. I want Edmonton to be good, and I feel like Edmonton is kind of like the Los Angeles Angels of hockey. They make the playoffs, but they just can't do anything from there. We want the Angels to get there at the least. And Dallas is always a respectable squad. They're 3-2 their last 5. Shout out to Rupee Hintz, one of the only Dallas Stars players that I can name because of Jimmy. And by the way, these aforementioned Dallas Stars 2-1 win at the Columbus Blue Jackets last time out. Not a good Blue Jackets team, obviously, but shout out to Jake Ottinger, another Dallas Star that I could name. Ultimately, this is a Dallas Stars team also coming back from a long road stand too. First home game. I always kind of like that stuff when they're back home cooking. -145 is a little bit too juice for me, and I don't want to bet against McJesus at the end of the day. So I passed here, maybe lean towards the under, but I know Edmonton's goalie, Jack Campbell, if he is confirmed, I'll double check the line, the goalies. I'm sure we have not no confirmations yet, but I just ultimately can't get here with either squad. So Bobano, as of right now, I'm seeing a Stuart Skinner, who I know you love, versus Ottinger.
Yes, we do. I think it will be Skinner for the Edmonton Oilers here. Stuart Skinner here for the Oilers. I think so because they gave Campbell a shot the other night and they lose to Nashville 4-3. Weird game for Campbell. Like he looked really good at certain moments and not so good in others. This is a tough one because Ottinger has been more like we've come to expect from Ottinger in his last 4 starts. He's given up 2 goals or less in 4 straight starts. We knew at some point he was going to really find his game. And look, he was 15 seconds away from a shutout in his last start against Columbus, 2-1. They scored with 15 seconds left. So nearly got the shutout in that game. He's been a lot better in net, like I said, the last 4 starts. But we'll see how he fares here against Edmonton. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit tougher for him. No question about that. And I think the last time he faced Edmonton, it's been a while. Wedgwood is the goalie that faced Edmonton the last 2 times these teams have played each other. And Ottinger faced them last way back on the game on March 22nd last year, and he gave up 3 goals to Edmonton in that game. So that's the last time we saw Ottinger in between the pipes against Stuart Skinner. We'll see if he can play well against them here. It looks like in terms of the series history, Edmonton and Dallas have split the last 6. It's Dallas coming home off a 5-game road trip. I don't love those spots. You know, I've talked about this for years in hockey where, you got the team coming off a road trip. I don't love backing them in that situation, especially when they're minus 140, minus 145 favorites. I mean, I definitely lean Edmonton here, plus 125. The fact that you've got them on a 3-game losing streak, if I'm not mistaken, this team hasn't had much more than 3 games has been their longest losing streak of the season. They lost 3 in a row against the Devils, Stars, and Caps. November 3rd, November 5th, November 7th. And then they beat Tampa Bay after that. So the longest losing streak Edmonton has had this season has been 3 games. They've avoided those long losing streaks. I think I'm going to buy in with Edmonton here tonight at this price. Edmonton catching Dallas off the road trip. Dallas, by the way, even on that road trip, the record over the last 7 games is 5-2. It's actually pretty good. But look at these close calls. They barely beat Ottawa at home in overtime. They barely beat Detroit at home in overtime. They lose to Pittsburgh. They beat a struggling New Jersey team when they played them. They barely beat Washington. And really, they got outplayed by Washington in that 2-1 win. Jake Ottinger stole the game. 46 shots Dallas gave up to Washington, but they won 2-1. The goalie was outstanding, Jake Ottinger. They lose to Carolina in overtime. They barely beat a really struggling and offensively challenged Columbus team in their last game, 2-1. It's not like any of these wins have been A, dominant for Dallas, and B, a lot of them against weaker opponents. So I like Edmonton here. The spot sets up well. They haven't lost 4 in a row. They're going to have their best goalie back in there tonight, probably Stuart Skinner. Let's go Edmonton plus 130 at Pinnacle.
I'll mute myself there. It's pretty crazy to think that Stuart Skinner is the best goalie in this tandem too, because I know Edmonton has had issues with the goal, and they go out there and sign Jack Campbell off of Toronto, and he's just not been good, right? He's just not been good all year.
Yeah, he's just struggled. He's not gotten comfortable. I don't know what it is, what the difference is, but he's not been anywhere close to the level he played at for a large part of his tenure in Toronto, struggling with rebound control. A lot of weak goals. He's letting pucks go through him, either 5-hole or in between his arm and the post, or in between his arm and his body. And those are just the kind of goals you just cannot allow at the NHL level as a starting goaltender. It's just the routine saves are not routine this year for Jack Campbell. And it's tough to watch because, he signed the big contract. He wants to win so badly. He wants to play so well because of the big money he signed in the offseason. And it just hasn't panned out yet.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. So Edmonton money line for Bobano, you got it at plus 130?
Yes, plus 130 in this one. I'm very tempted by the over as well. Very, very tempted because Edmonton's trending that way. 4 straight overs, 8-2. Let's put that, and 3 straight head-to-head overs as well. So let's go with that too. Over 6.5 minus 120.
And the over 6.5 there, minus 120 for Bobano. All right, beautiful. I'm going to move on Edmonton as well here. It didn't take much to convince me to move on Edmonton. I like watching them play hockey. So if I have to bet on them, I will do so. No worry. So over 6.5 in Edmonton, Dallas, and a little Edmonton money line for Bobano here. All right, let's keep this rolling here because we've got NBA to get into here soon as well. We've got 2 more games: Minnesota Wild, Anaheim Ducks. And as I obviously I watch the NFL or the NHL in a different way than everyone else. I watch the NHL through everyone else in the chat, Jimmy, etc. And the most contentious team every single time we talk about them is the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild seems like they're the most divisive team in the NHL, in this chat at least. Obviously they've got contract issues. I won't get into that because I don't know exactly what's going on. But Marc-Andre Fleury apparently washed. I didn't know that. We'll see what happens today in goal today for them. But they're 5-0 in their last 5. Marc-Andre Fleury is projected on daily faceoff, so we'll see. But 5-0 their last 5, can't argue with that. 4-2 win against Ottawa last time out. These teams have seen each other twice already, and the Minnesota Wild have beaten them twice. 4-1 on the 9th last month, and 5-4 on the 3rd of this month. Ultimately, I guess this is Wild or pass, but I ultimately, like I said, I have a negative connotation with Minnesota in my head because Jimmy does not like them, has the under on them. I think apparently Marc-Andre is washed. So I don't know. This is an interesting game for me. I pass on this one ultimately so far. Bobana, what do you think about these 2 teams?
This has to be Minnesota or nothing. I mean, Minnesota's obviously the better of these 2 teams. Anaheim's on the second night of back-to-back games after losing to LA 4-1 last night. A team that's 3-7 in their last. They actually had 1-2 in a row against Montreal and Edmonton, but the Edmonton win in particular. I mean, Lucas Dostal stole the game for them against the Oilers. And look, he tried to against LA last night. They got outshot again. What else is new? It's been the theme all year for the Ducks. But he couldn't do it last night. They lose 4-1. They're 0-6 on the second night of back-to-back games this year. Anaheim 0-6 in that role. Minnesota's rolling right now. They've won 5 in a row. Now, a lot of that was at home, and a lot of that was weaker competition. Detroit, Chicago, Ottawa, kind of up and down. They did beat Edmonton at home 2-1. That was a pretty good quality win. And they did end their last road trip. That's when the win streak started with a 3-0 shutout over Vancouver. But the bottom line is they've taken care of bad teams. And Anaheim's a bad team. So they should be able to here. I think what I'm going to do here in this game is, and it's a back-to-back for Minnesota where they play tonight and then they play tomorrow night in San Jose. So we'll see who they give the start to. But either way, if it's Fleury or Gustafsson, to be honest, both guys are playing well. And the team is playing outstanding defensive hockey in front of both of their goalies right now, Minnesota. This is about as good as I've seen them play defensively as a team, in a long time. I mean, they've given up to the opponent a grand total of 5 goals in the last 6 games. Or no, 5 goals in the last 5 games combined, rather. So they are just shutting down the opponent. Their team is playing great defense in front of their goaltending, which is great to see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Minnesota first period puck line, -0.5, plus 115 at Bet365. I'll go with that. And I'm also going to take, let me just see here. Let me make sure we get the price correct here. Regulation time. No, regulation time's a little bit too pricey. I will go with puck line double up. So -0.5, plus 115, first period puck line, and then -1.5, -104, full game puck line, Minnesota.
Beautiful. And what was that line for the first one again for the first period?
Plus 115.
Plus 115. Minnesota first period puck line, plus 115, full game puck line, -104 for Bobano. All right, last game. And I admittedly, I've got a soft spot for the Arizona Coyotes. I like the Coyotes. I'll admit it. They're always big underdogs. That always appeals to me. I always want to fade the -300, 400, 600s even, apparently. But Vegas has been that team since they've come in here. They've always been competent, always been at least good. They've been a pain in the ass for one Jimmy the Bag since they've come into the league. Let's see if we can get no confirmations yet. I'll refresh real quick, but it looks like we've got another person that comes on and does the show quite often, Mr. Gokster. It looks like Veg Melka in for the Arizona Coyotes, and I know that does not mean good thing. And Logan Thompson for the Golden Knights here. Bobano, I don't like the Knights. They took our hockey team away from San Antonio. Shout out to the San Antonio Rampage. I miss going to their games. Their team is in Henderson now. I don't appreciate it. But this is obvious. It just seems like, oh, well, you can't bet on the Arizona Coyotes on the road. So Knights are nothing, I guess. But this will obviously be nothing for me, Bobana.
One thing I've noticed with Vegas, when they're pissed off and you think they're going to bring their best effort to the ice, and I think tonight's one of those spots they will, I don't think they're going to overlook Arizona. They've lost 2 in a row at home to the Buffalo Sabres and the New York Islanders. So I think you're going to see them, step it up tonight. Now, they do have a couple key absences, like Jack Eichel's on IR. Shea Theodore's day-to-day, and he's one of their best defensemen. Paul Cotter's day-to-day. Brett Howden's on IR. Zach Whitecloud is on IR. So they've got some injuries, Vegas. And that, I think, has impacted them negatively, too. But I think tonight in this spot, and the one thing I've noticed with them, too, is when they bring a very good game after a loss, they're usually at their best early. And then sometimes they'll let the team back into the game. They did that against Columbus, I remember, on a recent road trip. They got off to this red-hot start, and they kind of let them back into the game. Philadelphia, I remember they played the Flyers at home recently, and they got off to a fast start, and then they kind of let Philadelphia hang around after that. Maybe that happens here against Arizona, but I think early in the game, after 2 straight losses, and they're talking about starting better, you're going to get a better first 20 minutes from Vegas. And if you look at Arizona on the road, the San Jose game, the Edmonton game, the Calgary game, their last 3 road games, they've been really beaten up in the first period. They've fallen behind early. They've had bad starts. So I think you've had a team with 3 straight bad starts on the road, and now a team that I think is going to bring a great effort early in this game. So I like Vegas first period puck line here. Vegas -0.5, +118 first period.
Another Bobano, you've been doing a lot of these first period puck lines. They've been
it's not by design. It's not like all of a sudden, whoa, we're going to take a lot of first period puck lines. It's not like I'm changing my philosophy all of a sudden. It's just the way the spots panned out, and when I did the handicapping, that's what I've come up with.
All right, beautiful. And what was the line again? One more time.
-1 and -0.5, +118. Vegas
+118 for Bobano.
I'll consider taking Arizona at home right now because they are playing well at home. I mean, they beat Boston, they beat Philly, they beat the Islanders, they lost to Buffalo, but they lost a tough one to Montreal. They played better at home lately on the road. I remember that San Jose game. I took them on the road, and they were just down 2-0 in like the first 10 minutes. So on the road, I think Vegas might be able to get off to a fast start and an early lead tonight.
All right. Well, beautiful. Bobano, what an NHL segment we just had. I've got all your picks written down here, and I'll review them. Please let me know if I have anything missing or left off. I've got 2 NHL plays, so this should be a whole lot of fun. All right, so let's start from the very top. Bobano is on Tampa Bay team total over 3.5, -102. And the over 6.5 at +103 there. He's on the Devils, Florida Panthers, over 6.5, -115, as well as a little Montreal money line, +240 there as well. A triple up in Nashville, first period -0.5, +150, regulation -116, and the team total over 3.5 at even money there. A little double up in Edmonton, Dallas, Edmonton money line, and Edmonton over 6.5 there. What was the line for the 6.5 there, Bobano? Apologies.
For which one?
Edmonton, Dallas over 6.5.
-120. Yep.
-120 there, and then a +131 for Edmonton money line there. He's also got Minnesota puck line, first period, +115, as well as full game puck line, -104. And to round it off, a little Vegas action. First period puck line +118. And now I forgot about this. I'm going to Vegas next week. I should go to a hockey game. I need to go to a hockey game next week.
Well, why not go to a Golden Knights game? Great atmosphere, great environment there.
Never been to an NHL game. They took my fucking rampage. Might as well throw me a bone and give me back. So it'll be a lot of fun. But Bano, thank you for joining me in the NHL segment. You know I need you in these segments because you're a wizard at this game. I'll see you in a couple hours, huh? NCAA Net Profit.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be back with Connor Mack for Net Profit at 5 p.m. Eastern later today. And he'll actually be on this show, too.
Yes, he will be.
College basketball in just a bit. And, of course, pay attention to my colleagues at the NBA Pub Hub coming up next year. Daryl, Wham, to break down the NBA card coming up here for a Wednesday. And, I'll be on that show, too, later today. NBA Pub Hub, 4 p.m. Eastern. It'll be me, Dutch, and Billy Briz today on the NBA Pub Up. So join us then.
Beautiful. Bobano, thank you so much. We will see you on NCAA Net Profit. I obviously planned that our next two guests were not on NBA Pub Hub this week or this today, whatever it is, this today. I obviously planned that and I knew it. So this is the only place you can get their picks. Let's go in alphabetical order here. And, I've had a checkered past with this individual, but I was the bigger man. I owned up. I invited him on, and I said, come on. We have a difference of opinion in certain things, but I can bury the hatchet. And I need him. He's been running well recently. Let's bring on Mr. Dale Rice. Daryl, nice to see you. I love your shirt. And I love that you're standing. It looks like you're standing. I love that. You mean like it looks like you're taking care of business today, Daryl?
No, man, I'm not standing. I just I'm in my booster chair.
Okay, all right. I like that.
Yeah, I'm in my booster chair. Jose, what's going on with the hair, Brad?
It's always like that. I've just been a lazy. Actually, I'm just a broke boy. I can't afford a haircut right now. It's Christmas. I gotta afford all these presents. We're going to Vegas next week. Can't be having for haircuts.
I hear you.
It's a mess.
I hear you. It's good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. Been a long time, but glad to be back. Glad to be here on a Wednesday, man. Might not be long-winded for me. It's just another one of those days where try to survive.
I understand that, and hey, guess what? I won't be long-winded either because the NBA. By far my least favorite sport and by far my least favorite sport to gamble on. But that's why I have these two next people on the show. Daryl joining us, and not to be outdone, I hope his son can make an appearance on the show as well. He's been running well as well. He's coming back. Trot Wham joining us as well. Wham Bam. How are you doing?
What's good?
What's happening? What's up with y'all? What's up with the chat? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Andrew, Gary, Ryan, you know what it is. Always love Jimmy Gomez, of course, always in there. And then, of course, Jose for even having me on. My guy, Daryl, happy to be here on the screen with you as well, man. Top shelf plays. Hopefully we can get top shelf today, bro. So, yeah, man, let's get it, bro.
You guys, yes, it's a lot of fun. Another thing that I unknowingly did, I brought on two Lakers fans. So look at me. Look at me.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I am
clouded already, bro.
I think I'm above it, guys. I'm just above it. I didn't know that I was just holding. Maybe I should run for president next.
Tooting his horn. Tooting his horn a little too early, though. I think it's a little too early, man. Let's break these games down first.
Let's
say some bullshit today. Look what you did, Jose. You fucked up the shout.
Now I'm scared. I didn't know what I've done. But let's break these games down. We've got a couple of games to talk about. Obviously, I'm going to let you guys cook here because on top of not liking the NBA, not being able to gamble on it, I fucking suck at math. I fucking can't do the math when it comes to these totals either. I only need ones and twos like in baseball. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. Let's start off with a banger of a game, Milwaukee, Cleveland. We've seen this matchup twice already, and it's been kind of disappointing. Milwaukee has just kind of, just slapped them in the face twice. Yeah. But now Milwaukee going to Cleveland for the first time this year. Cleveland 4-1 their last 5. They smacked Utah last night or whenever that was. I'm going to be very, very in tune with this game because though I do not like the NBA, I do have NBA takes, as you guys know. Shout out to the 10th, actually the 11th best player of all time, Kobe Bryant. But I'm going to be interested to see how
Come
all
on,
that
man.
goes. The
Yeah, that was
11th
kinda-
best player of all time. I'm going to be
Sheesh.
watching all of
This
it.
is what you want? This type of content you want,
I
bro?
know, man. Come on, man.
I'm sorry,
Come on, what
guys.
are we doing,
We're
man?
capping the NBA games. I apologize.
I still don't even have my coffee yet, bro. Come on, what is we doing?
The 30th ranked in pace, Cleveland are full season in their last 10 games. Along Cleveland, or sorry, Milwaukee, I should say, 14th for the season and 9th for the last 10 games. So I'm going to be interested to watch this game. What do you guys think of it? Obviously, I lean towards Cleveland here, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested to see what you guys have to say. I'll start with Daryl.
Yeah, looking at the site that I look for numbers, they have this total at 202, home by 6.8. So I'm thinking this is what you would call a double revenge spot for the Cavs, right? I believe one of those games that they lost, Jarrett didn't even play. And then the next game that he did play was about 12 minutes. So he didn't get the most out of Jarrett Allen. I was going to jump on Cleveland first quarter, full game. But I just looked at their record as of late, and they've been too kind of mediocre in the first quarter. And I saw that even in the last two games that they did play Milwaukee, they beat them in the first quarter, one time by 3 and another by a couple more. So this seems like a good spot. But just as of what they've been doing recently, they haven't been covering those first quarter spreads, even though they are still have a better record than Milwaukee. So for right now, it is a Cavs look for me. Full game, might get their first quarter, but not an official play as of yet.
I did not look at the lines because I like being surprised by the lines. I like looking at them on the show to get my immediate reaction. I am shocked that the Cavs were favored. I did not expect the Cavs to be favored in this game. I was thinking like Bucks -2 instead of Cavs -2, total of 217. Wham, what are you thinking about this game?
Well, yeah, I mean, Cleveland has beat Utah, Dallas, Indiana, and Dallas again in Dallas. 4 consecutive wins. When you have this team in Milwaukee, they had a bad loss against that Memphis team. We all know what happened there. But for the most part, let's talk about it. You said it, Jose. These guys won the last two meetings, bro. They won the last two meetings. Seemed like the team was still trying to figure it out. It was early in the season, a little bit more earlier, almost about a month ago. So they have, a little bit much time to get that gel in. Yeah, I love that they just came out of a more emotional game that they had with the Jazz. I love that for the Cavs here. It sounds good. I'm not going to lie. It sounds good, but it just seems a little too easy. Y'all know how the NBA works. When it's too easy, bro, I'm scared. I'm not trying to ride off with it. And honestly, my strategy this year is to not back a lot of public situations like this. You know what I mean? So I could kind of see myself falling with the public here and liking the Cavs, and I'm staying away from that. But I do like the Cavs to play well today. And let's talk about my guy that we didn't get to the prop and we didn't get to the window with last game. It was Darius Garland double-double at +210, +200. It didn't cash yesterday because they blew them out. Had 8 assists. I mean, if it was a little bit more competitive, I'm thinking he gets the 2 assists there. Last game that he played against this Bucks team, he had 4 assists. I think it was a lot of different things that they were trying to experiment with the team at that time. The first game was more like it. He had 8 assists. He still didn't get the double-double against his team. I expect if this is going to be a Cavs spot any such way, it's going to be a lot of Darius Garland on the offensive side being a distributor, though, being a playmaker. So I'm going to go Darius Garland double-double at +250. That's the official play for me in this game. But I do agree with the Cavs being a look. I'm just scared. I'm in church, bro. I'm in church when it comes to the actual side. So I'm going to stay away from the side, especially the total. I can see this going way over, even though these guys play at a really low pace. I'm not touching the total there in that regard because if the total goes over, that means the Bucks have more of a say in what type of pace this game is going to be. It's going to be a low-scoring game if the Cavs win. So I'm staying off of that because I'm kind of conflicted on the side. So for the most part, we're going to take the Darius Garland double-double, get to the window, man.
All right, beautiful. Daryl, any official plays for you in this game?
No, and I'm glad Wham said what he said because it's a good lean too for a full game for me, but not official as of yet. I'll probably wait this out here.
All right, beautiful. Sam Coleman mentioning 50% of the tickets on each squad, but 71% of the cash on Cleveland. So big bets on Cleveland. Wham! Darius Garland double-double. I guess I'm staying off. I don't anticipate me making many NBA plays, but my lean definitely is towards Cleveland, and I will be interested to see how that goes. Top shelf, by the way, it's Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Magic, Wilt,
We didn't have to do this.
Shaq, Duncan, Russell, Curry, Hakeem, Kobe. That's what it is. So there you go. Let's move on with our lives here. Let's talk. Oh man, Detroit basketball. I have an affection with Detroit. They have Kate Cunningham, who obviously out for the season. One of my baby boys on Oklahoma State. And truthfully, I want them to get Wembanyama because I would love to see Cade and him cook. But that also hinders from the fact that I want my San Antonio Spurs. I don't know. I don't like the Spurs, but I want them to lose every single game so I can have something to go watch next year. I want to go see that tall fucker in San Antonio. We'll see. And now let's talk Philadelphia because they're the talk of the town right now. Everyone that knows me knows that I physically cannot stand the 76ers. I hate the 76ers almost as much as I hate the Lakers. Fun fact. But they're 5-0 their last 5. Joel Embiid doing his thing, just being big as fuck. They beat Toronto up last night, or the 19th, I should say, a 104-101 victory in overtime. First matchup this season, and Philadelphia, obviously, again, slow and pace. When you got that big-ass center in there, you want to slow it down for them and all that good stuff. So 26th in pace, 23rd last 10 games. I don't trust Detroit. I mean, this is obviously an easy no bet for me with an 11.5 point favorite in Philadelphia. If I had to take a side, I'm taking the dog just because I don't trust them. But ultimately, this is an easy pass for me. Wham, you can start this one off here. Do you have anything for this shitty game?
Yeah, shitty game, I would say. I feel like the line is being shown in this game a whole lot based off of the situation. Being that it's off of a back-to-back, it's a road game for this Detroit Pistons team. So it's obviously the reason why the line is like this is because of that. But how far is Detroit from Philadelphia? How far is that? Is that about like 2 hours? You go through different time zones for sure, right? It's a Midwest to Eastern time.
I think
so
it's
I know it.
East, yeah.
Yeah. So I know I actually talked to one of my friends and he gave me a great stat that I don't have written down, but it does involve when it's a back-to-back and they go different time zones. It typically goes in favor to the team that is with the rest advantage, which will be Philadelphia, which is why the line is at 11.5. But that being said, do we trust this Philadelphia team with a double-digit line, bro? Come on, man. I think they are going to beat this team. They should win by 20 points. They should win by 20 points. But are they going to do it wire to wire is my thing. Are they going to do it wire to wire? Yesterday, one of the best that I should have made was the Detroit basketball in the first half. It just seemed so good. It seemed so right. And they end up covering. I think they could do the same thing in this game. This is nothing that I made official. Another play I did make official that I do like is Tobias Harris to go over this 3-point make props. Hit it last 5 games. It's juiced though, minus 156. So maybe I'm going to parlay that with something else that I like later on. But that's kind of the only thing I'm thinking about in this game. Other than that, dog early, I think. That's how I'm looking.
Are you making Toby threes official for the show?
No official there because I'm gonna probably bet that, but it's so juicy. It's one of those things. I know. Yeah, I typically don't try to get that out.
No, I understand completely. And when you start giving out juice lines, you get these kind of drops. Where is it? Here you go.
Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Huh?
Shout out to the juice man, Peter Loshak. Terrell, do you have any light for this game? It's a shitty game, but can you shed some light here for us here?
Yeah, personally, I'm not going to play this game either. It is a terrible game to play, but it does make sense when you have a spread this high to take the dog early. Right now, they're averaging around the same points overall in the first quarter at 27.1, but in the last 5, Detroit's points have shot up. And you know when I like these kind of correlations, when one team's points goes up and the others goes down, even if you play really good defense on that team that's gone up, the likelihood of that score being closer is going to be more likely than not. Right. So this does seem like when you have a spread at 11.5, that means that your first quarter is probably going to be at -4, and that's a good spot to probably take them. But it's a game I don't have any interest in at all. You don't know how Philly is going to come out and play. You have no idea if they're motivated to play a team that they know that they can smack on. They can get whatever they want in the paint. And so for right now, once again, another no play for me on this. The obvious play is going to be Philly, but we also know about Detroit and these higher spreads. In the past, they were covering them, even though they are a terrible team, the worst team in the NBA. Do you
Whoa,
trust?
give that to the Spurs. Give that to the Spurs. Worst NBA. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, that's something to behold there too. But do you trust Philly to be motivated for 4 quarters to keep the accelerator on and just blow these boys out? I don't know. So no play for me right now. But it does make sense that if you're going to look at a team to try to be motivated early, take Detroit as they try to keep pace with them. But then after that, it's a wrap.
I agree. Let's do some breaking news here too. A little breaking news. First off, obviously the breaking news is actually that Sky Dargan is now in the chat. Shout out to DG. But the breaking news, Mr. Nick Foles now starting for the Indianapolis Colts. Matt Ryan benched yet again. So Nick Foles, who I did not know was on the
Wow.
Colts. Did not know he was on the Colts. So
I actually don't like that, to be honest with you. He plays the Chargers this weekend. We need every win. We need every
There was a
win.
Chargers fan? I didn't know there was many of those existing.
Foles.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, he's not the only one.
Yeah, well, shout
Not
out to
me.
Shout out to Shark.
Whoa. We don't want to say your team win.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Falcon fed. I say it loud and proud, bro. It's all good, man. It's all good.
It's
Dog fighting and gambling, baby. Good dog fighting and gambling.
Oh God, I love Michael Vick, and shout out to the Falcons. Let's talk about the best team in basketball: the Boston Celtics versus the Indiana Pacers. That best team in basketball did just get embarrassed in a back-to-back against the Orlando Magic. Jason Tatum didn't play in one of those games, so does it count? I don't know, but they did just lose back-to-back games to Orlando. They're 1-4 in their last 5. Joe Mazzulla. It seems like he's trying to figure out how to be an NBA coach, which fair. He has to use some timeouts. He's having some issues against the Lakers, not using timeouts, but whatever. Got the win there. Didn't matter. My blood pressure was normal at the end of the game. So ultimately, I liked it. And by the way, Wham, I did look up the Philadelphia to Detroit. An hour and 50 minutes. You can get it there. $75 on Spirit. So there you go, guys. If you want some
Spirit.
Wow.
Whoa. Don't slander
dope.
Spirit. Whoa.
Yeah,
Us broke boys. We need Spirit and Frontier and business.
He said us broke boys. Hey man, Slawless. Hey, hold that down, Jose. Hold that down, bro.
I'll keep them in fucking business, Daryl. I'll keep them in business. No problem. Celtics 10-point favorites here. 232.5. That total seems high as hell. A lot of Boston first quarter love here. But I respect the Indiana Pacers because they were supposed to be dog shit, and they're not as bad as people thought. So I've got enough respect to not take the Celtics here full game. I wouldn't, necessarily hate that first quarter. Brennan Jones and Sam Colner putting a 3.5 there. I don't hate that. But it's just I want the Celtics to somehow snap out of this nonsense that they're in, maybe a couple days after that Orlando game and the Magic talking shit to them after that game. Maybe that will help, but no play from here so far. Daryl, what do you think of this game so far?
So we know that the first quarter fade the Pacers in the first quarter. We know that, right? That's basically what you do. But this is all I have to say about that. I think that might be the play. Overall, they're 25 points in the first quarter compared to Boston's 27 points in the first quarter. As of late, man, Pacers have went up by like 4 points. They're almost at 29 points in the first quarter, and Boston's right there at 27. This might be another game to where you look at how you look at Detroit if you're going to take the dog early. And this is the reason why. I believe Carlisle is running his starting core the entire first quarter. I believe that's what's happening. that somebody could probably take a deep dive into that. I was talking with my partner on the phone, and he's like, yeah, man, it looks like, because I faded Indy and lost 2 games ago, it looks like Carlisle has kind of switched it up, and he's running his main core, if not the entire first quarter, the very majority of the first quarter. So Boston, 3 points shouldn't be a problem. But if you look at how they're scoring now, since that change has been made, the Pacers' first quarter points have went up. So it's one of those things to where he's trying to keep them competitive, at least in the first quarter, so they're not playing this game to where they have to get go on this run in the second quarter and get it close by the first half. So really, it's just don't be afraid of the points altogether. This team will break down. They always do. It's just a matter of when. So I do like Boston -10. Again, I haven't made it official, but I do like that full game, kind of more than the first quarter. But at the same token, that first quarter, I couldn't talk anybody off of it, but that I would have to do more of the research to see what exactly Carlisle is doing there, because he's doing something different in the first quarter that's allowing these guys to score an extra 4 or 5 more points at times.
He's a good coach, too. Controversial to say, I guess, because he got fired from Dallas, and the last couple of years from Dallas were not ideal. But he's not a bad coach. He's not a bad coach at all. Wham, what do you think about this?
This game is so funny, man. Now we have breaking news, I would say, with Marcus Smart being questionable. He's questionable in this game. And you think about it, is this the Malcolm Brogdon revenge game? Seems like he said something to the reporters as well. Are they making way for Malcolm Brogdon to go the fuck off today? That's how I'm feeling now after that news just broke. As far as this game, though, man, like, there's no way I can't go without betting Hallie double-double here. It's plus money, plus 100. Over 8.5 assists. I just think that's pretty good money. I think that's going to be good money today. I do know that, the Nembhard guy, along with Buddy Hield sometimes, along with other guys, they kind of take the assists away from him. But I believe that today, there you go. And then they have Duarte coming back. They do have Duarte back as well. So they do have a lot of guys that's going to be possibly distributed. But I think it's going to be mostly focused on the offense. I believe that we have a good chance to get the Halliburton here. This is a bet that I didn't make here yet. But after hearing the Malcolm Brogdon news, I think that may be the better play here. Maybe the Celtics are moving a little bit out the way, allow Malcolm Brogdon to get a double-double. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he'll have over 8 assists today. So I'm thinking that is possibly a stronger look there now that the news did just come out. If Smart is out the game, we obviously know he's probably going to start for him. And going up against your old team, you only want to just ball out on their ass. We've seen Lloyd Marketing do it recently. We've seen other teams try to emulate that as well. So I'm going right probably to that as soon as it becomes available. It's not available yet. Obviously, when you guys are talking, I see the news. I'm looking for it. It's not available yet. Probably would have already dropped on it, but that's something that we're going to have to add on. And along with, I think, Halliburton. I just think the defense, man, for y'all, bro, it's just what's going on, Jose? I mean, this is what I really was excited for.
Joe,
I want to talk about the Boston Celtics with you, man. What the fuck is going on, bro?
Sure, let's talk about him. 22-8, good record. We just have to figure out our coach Joe, just has to figure out.
Bro,
all those timeouts, dog.
That's the only game y'all won. It was the Laker game. That's the game y'all won. So what's up with these other games? Orlando. What's up with the Orlando?
Well, Orlando.
Did we just let Orlando just like, all right, we don't care.
Yeah, Orlando's just good, I guess. I don't know. Orlando just owns the Celtics. It's hilarious. Paolo Banchero and fucking all those lanky-ass motherfuckers just own the Celtics. Shout out to the Magic, man. I like their squad. I hope they do well and way to not fuck up that first overall pick with Paolo. I like your looks here, and I have not seen him in the chat in a little bit. I'm sure he's watching probably on top of a house somewhere, but I'm going to make this official here. Celtics trifecta. Come on. Shout out to my guy, Nasty Nate. Celtics trifecta.
Where's Nate?
He's on top of a house, probably building some houses somewhere in Providence. Who knows? Boston -10, -113. Boston first half -5.5, -115. And Boston first quarter -3.5, -110. Official there. And Wham, I'm going to join you as well. We get that Marcus Smart news hopefully soon. When they release the prop markets for Brogdon, I will be looking at his points, rebounded, and assists and double
Yes.
double for sure. There he is, my
Yes.
master fucking Nate. There he is, right there.
Shout out to Nasty Nate. And I do agree with that first quarter. You guys said it. Fade these motherfuckers on the first quarter. 2-7-1 in the first quarter on the road. Yes, fade them for sure. So I agree with that.
All right, beautiful. Cannot wait. Shout out to Mr. Gokster watching as well. Mr. Gokster will be on mañana, I believe. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. No official plays from either of you guys there?
Not just yet. We waiting on Malcolm Brogdon. We will be on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting really, really close. I'm probably at this point overthinking it, but I'm probably going to make that first quarter an official play. I just really, really want to see. I think you might get a little movement if you have Marcus Smart considered doubtful. You maybe get like a half-point movement, you think?
I don't know. It's interesting. I love Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, my favorite non-Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown Celtic. And fun fact, by the way, Marcus Smart also rejected me for an autograph once.
Wow.
Yeah, it hurt my
Rightfully
lip.
so. He
It
should
hurt
have.
my
He
I,
knew
mean,
it.
I looked like a shithead. I had
Got a
no
lot of
shirt
respect
on.
for
I had
that guy.
paint all over me. It was at an Oklahoma State game. I asked
Oh,
him,
yeah. Oh, he a dirty bitch for that.
yeah, I
You ain't
asked him
shit
to
right
sign
now,
my
bro.
paddle. I asked him to sign my paddle. He said, and I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, Marcus,
Damn.
fuck.
Yeah.
That hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
That's all right. I still love him. But
Then
if
he
I
goes
ever
to your
meet
team
Marcus
and
Smart,
shit. Ain't that a bitch?
if I ever meet Marcus Smart, that's the first fucking thing I will say to him. So shout out to him. Next game on our card, Chicago, Atlanta. Now, I want to talk about the Bulls because they won last night somehow, but they were the talk of NBA Twitter for the last 3 days. Zach LaVine getting called out by his teammates allegedly. I can tell you what happened in that fucking meeting, guys. Zach LaVine not playing defense, and the other guys were like, what the fuck? We're getting blown out here by the Minnesota Timberwolves, who it's pretty obvious that no one likes the Timberwolves, and I think it's just because of patient zero, a.k.a. Rudy Gobert. And Rudy Gobert just seems to be the least likable person in the world, I guess. I don't know. But they have a blow up in the locker room. I don't know what happens. I assume Patrick Williams was like, you know what, motherfucker? Play defense. And LaVine was like, I'm scoring 40 points and all this shit. So I don't know what's going to happen there. They won their last game, which I was hoping they would lose. I wanted their last game to be that Minnesota game so I could just fade them and watch them fall apart. I don't know. But it seems like he's going to get traded. Who knows what's going to happen here? I think the Bulls are obviously realize we traded for Vujacic and all these dudes. DeMar's on the squad, and we're still not even good enough to make the playoffs. So let's just tank this bitch up and see if we can get Wembanyama. I don't know what they're going to do. And obviously LaVine getting a whole lot of money too. So that's tough. On the other side, the Bulls have been dysfunctional. Fucking a week ago, the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young just goes AWOL for no reason. Said, I want to skip shoot around. And Nate McMillan's like, no, sir. No, sir. So shout out to Nate McMillan for holding the line there. If you guys know me again, you'll know that I hate Trae Young. I do not like Trae Young, mainly because of the University of Oklahoma. So that is why I don't like Trae Young. I don't think he's a good player. I don't like the Hawks either. I think DeJounte Murray is a good player to have beside him, but I don't know. Since going to Atlanta, it's just been weird for DeJounte now. I guess getting out of Popovich's thumb made him feel just invincible, I guess. I don't know. 2 and 3 are the last 5 for Atlanta, while the Bulls are 1 and 4. So ultimately, I had nothing on this game. I kind of want to see the Bulls just flounder here, but it's the Hawks, so I ultimately end up trusting either squad here. Daryl, I think you started last time, so we'll start with Wham here. Are the Hawks deserving of a 6-point favorite line?
No, it's crazy,
man. It is the fucking Bulls, though, bro. You said it, bro. It's the Bulls, man. They coming off a back-to-back too after overachieving. The books just made them 6-point favorites last game. You know what I'm saying? Damn near. You know what I'm saying? So I could only imagine what type of Bulls team we're going to get off of a back-to-back against a team that actually played pretty damn well at the house. It's no way, bro. It's no way I'm taking Atlanta, though, man. I can't fuck with Atlanta. Come on, bro.
I agree.
This is not what we're doing. I do like that they have John Collins back. That's great. You still don't have Capella, though. So you don't have Capella. You don't have that guy. You still got those other guys, second-tier guys. and you're going up against a damn team that you said it too, man. Like they definitely are one of those teams that's on brink of it. They don't make the playoffs, or at least they don't get into that higher seed. It doesn't make sense for them to be in the play-in. Doesn't make sense for them to be in a road in the first round of the playoffs. So they are going to shop DeMar DeRozan. They do have a bad deal with Lonzo Ball, and every time they go up against Wendell Carter, he makes sure they reminded that I'm way better than fucking Nurkic. You fucking idiots! Like it's so annoying. I do agree with you there. That is fucking hilarious. But to be honest, though, bro. The Bulls, I can't trust the Bulls. I can't trust this damn team with the Hawks either. Luckily, we have a lot of games, bro. Luckily, we got a lot of games. This game right here, I don't want nothing to do with this fucking. I think this is one of those games that my boy Derek's gonna say, I don't give a fuck about this game, because honestly, I don't even give a fuck about this game.
I agree. The only reason I give a fuck about this game is Zach LaVine and his bullshit. So I agree with you. Derek, what do you think?
Wham said it best. He said it best. Bro must know me because I really don't. I don't. But there's two things that I want to mention about this game. The first thing is Bulls are in the top 5 with over/under records in the first quarter. That's something to look at. Just like the Wizards are number 1. So if you're betting the overs in these first quarters, the likelihood of you winning is pretty high as well. Bulls are scoring about 30 points in the first quarter, and the Hawks are scoring not as much. So you could really, it seems like it's one of those take the dog early types of slate here, because it makes sense to take the Bulls early and often because they are high scoring in the first quarter. They score higher points than the Hawks in the first quarter. And the Hawks are really in disarray right now. So that's another lean for me, but I really don't. It's just something to kind of dig into. There are a lot of games to play or to look at to be played. But it does seem like a Bulls early look, only because they're kind of trend that same way that the Wizards trend, to where they score high and often early, and they just trick off the rest of the game. So it just seems like what they do. I'm gonna tell you this though, and I'll keep it short. There's a podcast I listen to called Basketball Illuminati, and they say that this was early this month. This Bulls team is kind of the narrative going with the Bulls team right now is you've got either LaVine or DeRozan that's going to play for the Lakers. And it's kind of written in the tea leaves right now. It's a lot to get into and how things are working, but it's funny how the things that they were talking about a month ago, it seems like it's happening right now, right on cue, with the things that are kind of transpiring. And there were just some kind of tidbits that were laid out. Some things that LaVine had said earlier in the season, that there was some news that there was going to be a trade between the Bulls, kind of little rumblings in the Lakers earlier in the year, but it seems like it's there's little life coming to that now. So I don't want to get into like the thick of things, but don't be surprised if you see the Lakers being talked about again with the potential trade between either LaVine or DeRozan, something happening in the woodworks before trade deadline.
Yeah, I'll say this: if I had to pick the two out of the two guys, LaVine or DeRozan. By the way, two California guys as well, UCLA and Bompton for Mr. DeRozan. If I had to pick, whoa,
that place don't exist, bro.
What are you talking about, guys?
Not on the map. It's not on the map, bro.
Yeah, bro. You
so
wildin',
basically,
man.
I would say if they get DeRozan, I'd be a little concerned. LaVine, he doesn't play any defense. I don't give a fuck about. DeRozan's actually a winning player. So there's my quick Lakers trade thoughts there. I'm gonna be interested to see how that goes for them. Let's move on to this next game, because this next game. Shout out to Wham's kid, by the way. I saw his little head rolling around there. He's rolling. Shout out to him. He knows what's up. He knows. Golden State Warriors, Brooklyn Nets. A big game here. It would be a lot better if Wardell was in shoulder injury. Believe keeping him out. You guys will keep me updated on that, so I don't expect him to play. Now, we've got a 12.5 point spread with the Warriors right now. 224.5. It's on paper, it's a good game, but it doesn't seem like we're gonna get many Warriors playing. And you guys know how I feel about the Warriors in general, especially Jordan Poole, the most overrated player in basketball. Jordan Poole is Trae Young is what Jordan Poole thinks he is. But then Jordan Poole is just a much shittier version of that doesn't play defense and is still extremely bad and overpaid now. Brooklyn 5-0 their last 5. KD fire right now. He's trying to. He said, "You know what? I see Jokic putting up 40 and 27s. You know what? I want to be in the MVP race a little bit. I want to step up." So he's been great. Pace-wise, obviously, Brooklyn's 21st in the full season, 19th full for the last 10. Well, I've got the Warriors, and this is kind of what they do. They've been running. First pace all season, third last 10 games. I ultimately had nothing on this game. Probably lean towards an over just because of the Warriors' pace, maybe able to get it there, get themselves there. But I'm not going to bet on this Warriors squad right now. They fucking suck without Wardell. He's one of the best players in NBA history, and I'm not going to bet on that team without him. So I pass here. I've already forgotten who I started with last time, so I'll go with Wham to start off here first. Wham, do you have anything to say about this game? Because, I mean, like I said, on paper it's great, but gambling-wise it's kind of tough.
Yeah, Robert Franklin. My man Jose up in here cutting up, bro. Bonta does not exist. It's not on the map. This is what it is, bro. I'm a player. I know what I'm talking about on that situation. But in this game, man, come on. You said it, bro. Wardell's not involved. No bueno, man. It's not the same, though, man. When people ask, like, who's more important for their team, Steph or AD, it's no question. It's going to be Steph, bro. Because outside of Steph, you got Klay Thompson, who's not going to play today, luckily. And then you have Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, he should have had a day last night. Last night, he should have had a day. That was his opportunity. I said it on the Peter Losak show. I expected him to have 40 if they had a chance. He didn't get that. He got 24. It was out there getting blown out. It was over at that point. In this game, man, they may get back some reinforcement. Some guys that I think that they definitely needed last game. Dante DiVincenzo and JaMychal Green, man. They need something else. They need help. They need help all the way. They need JaMychal Green now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this shit is all bad, bro. They need JaMychal Green. They need Kuminga to have a great game today. It's going to be a lot of factors into this to this team that's going up against a team that's really, really fucking hot. And like you said, the boy's going for MVP, even though he's not going to get it. Don't no one like KD as much as they don't like Rudy Gobert. The media hates KD. So it's just like no one's going to vote for him. So he could drop 33 points over his last 6 games, which is great for the prop market. He's at 27.5 points. I expect him to get a 30-piece tonight, but it might be a little trouble because this is a blowout speaking, man. So where are we going to make money at? It has to be somebody on the Golden State Warriors side if they're going to make this type of competitive. I'm thinking Dante or Poole. Poole could probably go in. I don't expect Puddle to last so long, man. You in New York so much, it rains out there too. So I expect it to be a little bit Pooley eventually. Not that much of a back-to-back. Again, it's like, a back-to-back for them. Here, they don't have to travel. They stay at the same hotel. They just go to a different arena there. So it's not the same. I don't think that this line is brought into the same as that Detroit game against a team that we don't really trust in the Sixers. I think we really trust the Brooklyn Nets to hold down here. And I believe that the Golden State Warriors just going to suck. So I'm staying away from this game until I figure out who's going to be all the way locked in the lineup. Dante got to be here for me to be able to lock in anything on the prop side with him. I'm just going to focus in on him or Poole. It's going to be either one of those. But nah, right now, no side for me, bro. It's too tricky. Too many points.
Daryl, anything on this one?
Yeah, I'm not touching this game. I'm really not. No, I don't have anything official as of yet, but yeah, just to kind of.
We're trying to make money.
This one here is. I wish I would have played them against New York. I wish I would have because my skepticism was they were losing all those games, but they turn around and they go to Toronto and smack Toronto, and then they go to NY, and NY just embarrasses them. So it seems like Brooklyn is the spot here. I might just get there. I don't want to overthink it because this team is just going downhill from here. This is their what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. So this would be their 6th road game. This is just a ridiculous road trip right now. So they might just be ready to go home, man. Serious. At this point, it's just like we just here so we don't get fined, right? I'm just here so I do not get fined. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't even get to the century mark again. 6th road game. They're just ready to go home. So it just seems like This should just be a Brooklyn smack spot. I should get there, but we'll see if this line has any kind of movement whatsoever. But heavy lean on Brooklyn full game.
I'm going to be making an official play here, and this is a play I actually circled pregame.
Nice.
You guys mentioned in the chat earlier, I have a lot of hate in my heart. I am a petty bitch. And you know who also
That's
is a petty
crazy.
bitch? Kevin Durant.
That's crazy.
Kevin
That's
Durant's
crazy.
a petty bitch. Give me Kevin Durant over 27.5 points tonight. Like you mentioned, Sam, minus 121, so a little juice. I think KD's going to try to go for 30 on these dudes.
Easy.
Fuck Steve Kerr. Fuck Jordan Puddle and Clank Thompson. By the way, these nicknames, they're piling up for the Warriors. You can't win a title with Jordan Puddle and Clank Thompson. You can't do it. So I good luck. Good luck to Wardell Stephen Curry, the 10th best player of all time. So I can't wait. So give me KD points over there. It'll be a whole lot of fun. And yes, I do hate the champs gas report. It's a lot of fun to hate the champs as well.
What makes you put Steph over Kobe? What makes you put Steph over Kobe? Because I honestly think I will start off saying this. In today's game, to be specific, I think those guys coming back, they may cover the spread. So I think Golden State may be still a lot better than any team that without Kobe. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna say that. So I'm asking you just generally, what makes you put Steph over Kobe, bro? Because he got more rings.
He's got more rings. I think one more than Curry, maybe two more. I forgot.
Yeah, he got one more. He got one more.
He got one more than Kobe. Only one more. And Curry's
only one more. Oh wow.
He's got plenty of time. Sure. The best shooter of all time, changed how basketball is played, and has the most. He's going to have one of the most unbreakable NBA records of all time.
Okay.
A better teammate as well. One of the best teammates since Tim Duncan in the NBA.
Is he really a good teammate? Letting Jordan Puddle get smacked up like that in the preseason?
Well, you know, he's something that.
Where was he at? Where was his teammates?
I'll say this: Jordan Poole probably deserved it because he's kind of annoying as shit. He's probably walking around with his money. So, I was one of the people in the minority that was like, "Yeah, Draymond, get his ass, Draymond, fuck him." So good job. Shout out to Draymond Green. I have a begrudging respect for Draymond Green as well after the finals too.
Right.
Let's talk Toronto, New York Knickerbockers here. And it's a game that people in the chat have been very contentious about. Just very contentious. I want to hear everyone's thoughts here. And Kobe better defender. I don't know about that. He did get a lot of defensive teams just off of name value, but I don't know. Toronto has been sucking 0-5 last 5, and like Jimmy was saying, they're all about the tank life now. They're already should we just start tanking? Should we trade OG Anunoby, who Zach Lowe already said there would be a lot of suitors for, a player that, I don't know. He's kind of like the perfect mold of the NBA right now, big enough to guard like your KDs and shit, and hit the outside jump shot. So he'd be very valuable, but I don't know. So we'll see. I don't trust Toronto. And funny enough, the first text message I got last night when capping these games was from one Preston Ekdahl telling me take Toronto. No content, nothing else. Just said take Toronto. And I said, all right, fine, I will. That's tie my hands behind my back. I will. Because when someone texts you that directly to take a bet, I think you just got to take it out of principle. So I'm on the Toronto Raptors here, plus 1.5 against the Knickerbockers. Knicks are 5-0 their last 5. They're hot. But I can't bet the Knicks. I don't think this hot streak will keep on. And this is our first matchup this year. So, we also mentioned that Preston's been hot too. So he's been on fire recently. He's been quietly just making his money. So shout out to Preston. I'm on Toronto plus the points. Daryl, we'll start off with you here.
So I would have to agree with Preston. That's why I don't want to play. Because when I looked at this line at 1.5, I'm like, what is going on here? Who is injured? As hot as New York has been right now, and you saw what New York did to Golden State, but you saw what Golden State did to Toronto, and these are just recent games. Why is this line at minus 1.5? So this is just one of those things to where if you have the betting public who's going to look at this and just kind of casually look at stats and see what the Knicks have been doing, they're pretty much not going to care about this number at all. They're just going to see what New York is doing, and they're going to be like, you know what, I'm on the Knicks. But you just have to at least question why is this line so short with how hot the Knicks have been? Why? You saw that with the Denver and Memphis game yesterday, right?
Right.
A lot of people were on Memphis. It was a short line. Memphis just demolished Milwaukee the game prior, had the rest, and now they're going to Mile High. And you saw what Denver did. They carried that game from start to finish. So it seems like if we're telling the same story, seems like it's just going to be a Toronto spot because you can't explain why that line is so short. So it's still a no play for me here because in spite of all that, if I have to go to where the hot team is, I don't get in front of hot teams. So I'm not going to try to gamble that and say, you know what, I just think because of what the line is telling me, I'm going to go the other way. So for right now, again, no play for me on this game here. This would be a fun game to watch, though.
It will be. It will be indeed. Wham, what do you think about this one?
Hey, let's talk about it, man. You said it, bro. The hot team is hot. We got to keep riding the hot team until it's not. It's just how it is. The trend is your friend. Right now, the Knicks first half has been cashing. We're not going to shy away from that shit. I agree. It may be a Raptor spot. I hope my boy Preston win, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those games that, some guys get weird, weirdly ruled out, some fuckery going on. And I had some trouble before I made this bet. I was thinking maybe I should wait until at least the 11:30 Pacific Standard Time injury report comes out because there may be some bullshit here. So if you have those, those thoughts as well, maybe you should wait. Just wait, But I took this at -1 as far as the Knicks first half. This is official play for me, -110. Again, 12-2-1 in the first half at the house. That's just one of the spots for them as far as being in a rest disadvantage spot. They're 3-1 ATS for the full game. 3-1 off the second half of a back-to-back ATS. They're all right. You know what Thibodeau has going on right now. I think he figured it out. I think he knows how to keep that defense really intact. Our guy Peter Loshak alluded to that yesterday. I think that we are getting a Raptors team that, like you said as well, Jose, they're on the other side, bro. One team is going this way. The other team is going this way. And honestly, it didn't even get better today. Even if they do get Gary Trent Jr. back, he's already saying that he's going to opt out. Some information that just dropped while we're on the thing. He's going to opt out his contract. This shit, these motherfuckers out of here. They don't want to be here no more. You know what I'm saying?
It's wild.
As much as you don't want to go through customs, we tired of going through this shit too. So look, I think that this is it may not be an obvious spot for the Knicks here. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if some fuck shit happens, but I lock this in officially at -1. Knicks first half. I'm going to continue to ride what has been paying me, man. So I'm on the Knicks first half today, y'all. If you know, you know.
What line did you get on that?
-110, -1. First half, -1, -110.
-110. I can't wait. Good game here. I'll be on the full game. Wham on first half. Woo! I can't wait. By the way, I love the contentiousness in the chat with this game too. I love it. Hey, this is what makes us all better. And Chris Rock, not even betting the game and taking shit first. So shout out to you, my man, Chris Rock. You're in here. You're trying. I appreciate you for grinding this out, my man. All right, let's get into a game that I know Daryl doesn't give a fuck about. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you now.
Orlando, Houston. I mean, the best team in basketball, the Orlando Magic, coming off of beating the Celtics twice and losing to the Raptors too by 1 point. Or not the Raptors, the Hawks, excuse me. But I have nothing on this game. I think this is one of those games we can all easily just be like, you know what? You bet on this game, 1-800.
1-800.
I've got the line for you.
1-800.
1-800.
Right. Put it up.
Thank you. We'll put it up for those that need it. Orlando favored by 1 on the road. Sure. I guess. I'm leaning home team, but I've got ultimately nothing here, especially after the Houston Rockets get fucking destroyed by the Spurs. So pass game for me. Daryl, how many fucks do you give about this game?
Not a single one.
Not a single one, yeah.
I don't even want to talk about it. I ain't want to talk about this game.
All right, great.
Y'all can have it.
Perfect. Wham, do you have anything on this game?
So this game is actually very interesting to me.
Oh, brother. This
very interesting to me. very interesting to me, man. Last game went crazy over. This line is set at 223. Where is the defense going to be for either one of these teams? Let's talk about the defense. Have been there for them pretty late, though. Orlando ranked 9th in defensive rating. Houston Rockets ranked 7th in defensive rating over the last 5 games. This got to be a Houston spot, Billy says. I agree. They've been clanking like Thompson, bro. They one of the worst three-point teams over the last 5 games. They've been terrible at shooting the three. My boy Jabari, man, he's been right there leading the way at clanking it hard. So we are going to be off officially, Jabari, just for now. This is a good time to stay away from them because the books may know something about Orlando. And I do feel like we can make money in this game, but it's not going to be with the Rockets, I don't think. It's unfortunate. They are at home. They have a really good home record. This is a subpar team in Orlando Magic. This is really a good spot for the Rockets. I love the Rockets, and I know I'm biased when I say that. But that being said, bro, yeah, it's got to be Markelle Fultz assists or nothing in this game. Got to be Markelle Fultz assists or nothing. Last game, he was able to go over his 5.5 assists, 6.5 assists. I expect that to be the case here today, but I kind of would agree with you guys. I didn't bet this game, but I am very intrigued, and I will be watching. I expect Markelle Fultz to go over his assists. That might be a parlay adder for me later on, but I'm not touching that as far as official play. But I want you guys to know that I do find interest in this game. You know, I do find a lot of interest in this game, especially with my Houston second team feel. I love this team so much, so I hope they ball out today.
That's funny. A lot of Magic love in the chat. DG loves the Magic. And by the way, Sam Colmer also took Dennis's advice, took a little Magic to win the division, their division. People forget that there's divisions in the NBA. Plus 5,500 there, plus 550 as people will say with an extra 0. Ultimately, I can't get there. I can't get there with this game. I guess just based off the chat, I lean towards the Magic, but nothing there for me there. So it'll be a whole lot of fun to see. And Myron Kidd, by the way, saying this will be a nice game for DFS too. So and by the way, when it's funny when you say DFS, I have to think it's either Dorian Finney-Smith or fantasy. We're talking fantasy or Dorian Finney-Smith. But shout out to you, my man. Let's move on. Funny game there. Dallas Mavericks versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Our next game on the slate. A little back-to-back here. Back-to-back. Third game in 4 days for Minnesota. And a Minnesota team that seemingly they're playing better, I guess. They're 3-2 last 5. Back-to-back, like I mentioned, they just lost, or the Dallas just lost to these Minnesota Timberwolves. And as my guy Dutch would say, I'm not betting against Luka Doncic. I love Luka Doncic. He's one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. Is it because he's foreign? Maybe. I don't know. I just like watching him cook. Minnesota, shockingly enough, really high in the pace rankings too. 3rd in the season, 4th last 10. Wouldn't think that would be the case with Rudy Gobert, patient 0 down there. But ultimately, this was another easy pass game for me. I'm leaning Dallas, if anything, just because I like the back-to-back revenge spot, thinking they can come back and win here. They're 3-point favorites, so seems like Vegas also kind of agrees there. So a pass game for me to start off with. Wham, you found so much interest in that last shitty game. I can only imagine what you think about this game.
Yeah, great segue with the DFS there because Dorian Finney-Smith is questionable in this game tonight, along with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dwight Powell. So you may see a big dosage of Christian Wood today and McGee. So I expect those guys to be possibly there. But let's talk about this, man. Both of these teams suck, bro. One is not covering. You know what I'm saying? One is not covering, and the other one sucks ass as far as like just in general. You said it, bro. No one likes this damn Timberwolves team. You know what I mean?
Nobody.
No one likes this team. They don't even like themselves.
Nope.
They don't even like themselves, bro. And always saying some wild shit. Always coming in like with a half hungover mentality. You dig what I'm saying? You got the old heads who really aren't old heads. They act like babies. You dig what I'm saying? And then for the most part, having a questionable Rudy Gobert may be a plus, unfortunately, but not having Cat, you got to rely on just Ant, D'Lo. Those guys haven't been able to have that offense fire at all cylinders. And then you get losing a guy like Taurean Prince, who's like their streaky guy. So you're really probably going to lose a lot of the bulk today against this damn Dallas team. I'm not touching this game as far as a side, but I think the props are really keyed in on this one, bro. This is one of those things that we gotta wait though, unfortunately, because they haven't been able to throw us any bone on who's going to be available outside. They got Tim Hardaway Jr. here in the props, but I don't think he's going to play. You know what I'm saying? So they don't give us a Christian Wood on the threes, but they're going to give us Luka. So I'm going to wait until they show up the Christian Wood. I think Christian Wood has I ain't gonna lie, I called him a layup boy. He's right there with Ayton. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys that's not trying to dunk on people. He's fucking damn near 7 feet, just out here just laying it up. You know, everyone can't be Elijah Wan, I would say, like and make your top 10. You dig what I'm saying? Everybody can't be Elijah Wan and make your top 10. But I would say for you, man, you gotta dominate this spot right here, bro. You're going up against Nas Reed, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's no Vanderbilt. You got the little McLaurin kids out there, but come on, man. You the big man here. Dunk the ball, bro. Dunk the ball. Come on, Christian Wood. That's what I'm going to be looking into. But I expect Tim Hardaway Jr. to be announced out, and then also him coming in. So it's going to make a big difference. He's averaging 19 points over the last 7 games, almost a double-double at 9 rebounds. So they're not giving us any love on a double-double, but they may tonight. So we got to key in on the Christian Wood props. And you're right, Billy. Nas Reed has been hooping. But, bro, the reason why is because he's the only one they got left. Like, they only got him now. Like, he was, like, really their 4th best player coming into the season. So that's really all they got because D'Lo is not producing. So I'm only thinking about Christian Wood as far as any props here. And possibly the over, man, because I know that these guys is going to go over the total. I think the last game that they played, they went under 231 at 116 to 106. But I believe that had a lot to do with those trees being there. A lot of the defensive guys like Powell and Rudy Gobert was there. They're not there in this game, so it's going to be a little bit more offense. So that's how I'm thinking. That's why I like Christian Wood today.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Wham. Durrell. Interesting game here. A lot of Nas Reed love in the chat, by the way, as well. He's been hooping.
Yeah,
Billy as well. Any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, nothing official until these injury reports are final here. I've learned my lesson more than once, not to jump the gun. Let's just see who is definitely playing. But I think I will go to the well with the Timberwolves first quarter on this one here. They are averaging 30. Right now, those points are down at about 28 in the first quarter. But if you look at that game, they only put up 21 points, like a season low for that entire first quarter when Dallas put up 30. So even the first quarter under in that game was a good play. Second quarter, not so much. You saw it switch where Dallas only puts up 14 points in the second quarter. And then Minnesota goes on this run. So I think you're going to have more of an even kill game here to where at least Minnesota can be at least a little more competitive in the first quarter. But again, that's my look on this game for the first quarter. Not official, going to wait for that injury report.
All right, beautiful. I'm nothing official there either. Shout out to Luka, who got ejected yesterday on some bullshit too. So he could have a nice day as well. Like we had in the chat, AOD mentioning and Bananas and Grapes mentioning he needs that other guy. I would agree with you there. Chris Rock also mentioning Luka threes is his favorite thing today. So shout out to you, Chris Rock. Well, could you imagine if that was the actual Chris Rock just watching our channel casually? Well, my first question to actual Chris Rock would be, how hard does Will Smith slap? How hard? Not hard enough, apparently. Not hard enough. All right, let's talk about Portland OKC here. And I was doing some research, as they say. I was shocked to find out that your Portland Trailblazers are the best team against the spread this year so far. 20-11 are the Portland Trailblazers. I thought this Trailblazers team was not going to be a good one. Thought Dame Lillard was going to be a little washed. They've proved me wrong. Now we're getting another back-to-back on the same floor here. OKC beats them 123-121 on the 19th. I think Dame Time comes back and gets this dub here. Need to check the line, but I'd be pretty surprised here if OKC or if the Trailblazers can't take care of business and get a dub here. Dame, a good enough player to take over a game, and who the fuck's gonna guard? Is it Dort? I guess we'll get Lou Dort on him. He's a good defender, but we'll see. I like Dame. I like Portland here. Minus 3.5 is a little steep. Maybe I'll combine that money line with something else. But I like Portland here to start this off. Slow pace, too, compared to Oklahoma City's fourth pace this season at 102.63 and first last 10, 103.15. So they sped it up a little bit recently as well. So give me Portland here. I think I'm going to take them at money line, might combine it with something else. But Daryl, we'll start off with you here. I'd love to hear your Portland, Oklahoma City thoughts.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with would be my first official play. Portland first quarter -1. I do believe that's a good look here. They are actually top-notch first quarter ATS, and you've already spoke on how they are best in the league ATS altogether. Another play I'm going to look into also is, if you didn't know it, man, OKC is pretty good in first half over/under. Right, they're not too bad first half over/under. So that may be another thing to look at. They are number 2 in the league right now. Number 2 at home. They are 10-4. And this is a good spot to where you might get a lot of scoring in this game. That last game, if I'm right, did go over. They put up about 56 points, or not about, they put up exactly 56 points in that first quarter. And it just seemed like this is a 235, seems like a number they can reach. So in my opinion here, I already jumped on or stepped on Portland first quarter -1. Huge lean on that over/under first half. I might get there because there is going to be points scored. But for right now, that's my first official play. Portland first quarter. They are sitting third in the league. As you already said, best ATS team in the league right now. But in their first quarter, they're third, man. They're pretty good. So I do think they get it done. A little revenge spot here, too, if you want to call it that. Portland -1 first quarter.
What line did you get that at?
-1.
Okay, beautiful. All right, let's move on. All right, Wham. Thank you, Daryl. A very interesting game here. I know more interesting than the other shit
sure.
you were liking as well. I have a soft spot for OKC. I really do, and it really makes me want to bet the Thunder here. But I'm on my Trailblazers, I guess. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I like this game a little bit. Nurkic being questionable for Portland, I don't think that's that much of a loss there. You're gonna have Jeremy Grant, Hart out there, Damian Lillard, and also the other kids there that they just recently acquired, Sharp, as well. So Josh Giddey and Baisley did go through shoot-arounds they just recently gave out there, so they are questionable still with the illness. But being that they were able to go through shoot-arounds, I expect them to be out there. Thunder have been holding it down, though, man. Thunder Buddies unite, like Big Show Pick says. Thunder Buddies unite, bro, because they have won and covered last 5 meetings against this team. They have been able to just hold it down, bro. I mean, SGA, well, he has the most. He has the second most go-ahead buckets in go-ahead field goals in the league since Kobe. I think he's since Kobe. So I mean, bro, like he's just gonna get that type of energy. I expect Dame time to arrive. It is Dame time. Bananas and grapes. I agree with that. I think this is gonna be a really good game to watch for sure. As far as putting my money on it, bro, no. I think the short line is for a reason. I think it's a little too easy just to jump on this Trailblazers here. I think that the OKC may be one of those games right now that they show that they are pretty competent. Kind of scares me as well. So I am in church on the side. I do think that this is one of those moments I was explaining earlier that I think that it's so easy, so obvious to take a team. I'm not going to take that type of play this year. So I'm staying away from from Rip City just because I think the Thunder Buddy in me won't allow me to do it.
No, I understand. I think I'm going to move on Portland, and we'll see how or what I combine it with to make it more stomachable, but we'll see how that goes. I've been to Oklahoma City a couple times too. Fun fact, I think that's the place I've seen the second most basketball games in my life. I've seen plenty of Spurs games at this point now, but I've been to OKC when they were actually good arena, good fans. Nothing to do in Oklahoma, so got to do that. All right, let's talk. We've got 2 more games left, and we've got at least 3 teams that we're interested to talk about. And let me tell you, as West Coast gentlemen, I think you guys will like this. You know what? I'm going to leave the Lakers to last. That's how nice I am. I'll leave them for last. Charlotte Hornets versus the Clippers. A shit game. The Clippers should take care of business. They are rested. Last game was on the 17th, I believe. -8 for the Clippers right now. 225 the total. Obviously, the whole thing is always Kawhi PG. You guys will know better than I. You guys have more of a better pulse on the injury reports. If Kawhi and PG are playing, I probably play the Clippers at -8. think they can just dominate and roll this small, young Hornets squad. Do I trust in LaMelo? Is LaMelo going to be playing? Do I trust LaMelo, who's been in Los Angeles? No, I don't trust. Look, you know what LaMelo's doing in his fucking free time? He is smoking that gas in Los Angeles right now. That is what he's doing. My favorite thing, when you've got teams like 2 years ago, the Celtics were the biggest let's just get together and smoke team, because every time they would be in a team picture, they would all look blitz. And I loved it. It was great. So shout out to them. I don't trust the Hornets here. Give me the Clippers. I just need to see if Paul George and Kawhi are playing, and they're always a fucking hassle to see what they're doing. So no move as of right now. Lean towards the Clippers. Wham, I know you love talking Clippers. So what do you have on this game?
I'm on LaMelo Ball over 3.5 3-point makes plus 103. Yes, the gas is lit. But man, when you come from out here, bro, you know what I mean? Probably was 12 years old when he first smoked this first.
That's true. That's facts.
So, I mean,
that's
come
facts.
on, bro. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal, especially when you come back home. You're mostly seeing a lot of family, catching up on old stuff, or actually purchasing things that you've been wanting to purchase, yada, yada, yada. LaMelo going over his three-point prop today because he's been doing it since he's came back. And I expect Terry Rozier, who's already ruled doubtful, to be out the lineup. The pace is going to be up for the Hornets. And honestly, the Hornets have been able to cover in these big, long spreads. The number is showing us that maybe Paul George and Kawhi will be in the lineup. So I am capping them in there. I am capping that they have been great in defense last few games, last 5 games, for example, holding opponents to 30% from 3. They have been able to win their games, and then also having, I believe, the second defensive rating over those last 5 games, just underneath that Memphis Grizzlies team to just block everybody's shit. So I think there's going to be defense here. But is it going to be enough to stop LaMelo and them of these guys going up and down the floor, keeping the pace there? I don't think so. I'm going over to 3.5. I'm sorry, 3.5 3-point makes for LaMelo at plus 105. That's what I'm rocking with, man. I'm not really worried about the Clippers, bro. I think that they fugazi as it gets. And I wouldn't be surprised if they hold it down and win the game, but I think it's going to be a high-tempo game. It's not going to be a slow pace that they're trying to enforce.
That's funny. I love the Clippers thoughts from Lakers fans. It's always hilarious to see the back and forth. Daryl, how do you feel about the Clippers? Wheelchair and those boys going to play, actually? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. But this is another lean. I'll wait. It's been a lot of hurry up and waiting for me here. But if you've been fading another team that cannot score in the first quarter, it's Charlotte. They're just like the Pacers. It's just something that they don't do. They can't score in the first quarter. They're absolutely horrendous. But they have kind of turned it around, especially after their head coach called them out and saying, hey, we've got a team that all the players want to do is score, we're never going to win any games. And so after the head coach, I'm having trouble thinking of his name right now, kind of said that, it might have made a turn, but at the same token, it's still Charlotte stinking it up in the first quarter. They're just as bad as the Pacers. Those are bottom feeder teams when it comes to first quarter scoring. So I do have a lean on the Clippers first quarter just to get that number at a fraction of what you have it now. First quarter last game, it was 26-28. So maybe it does kind of give a little cause to pause, but at the same token, hey, Trent is your friend, like Wham said. So I might go back to the well with this Clipper squad, being a little more motivated and rested at that to get this Clippers first quarter. I don't even have a number on it for my local just yet, but that does seem like a good spot.
Beautiful. Clippers first quarter. I can tell you BetOnline has a 2.5 minus 2.5 at minus 115.
Yeah.
We'll see how that all operates and shakes out after, or I should say, when the game gets closer. All the West Coast games, obviously, the markets take a little longer to develop. I think my favorite angle about this game is just the Clippers having a couple of days off before going to the game, just because they're like, an old ass team, their legs, et cetera, whatever. But shout out to them. I'm not going to move on them officially, but we'll see how they shake out. And Billy asking a good question about how many bitches did LaMelo smash in the last 48 hours? I'm going to say that number is just entirely too high, just too high for LaMelo. And shout out to him going back home. Last game on our slate, and I think this is my favorite game of the night. Fuck the Warriors Brooklyn Nets game. Fuck them.
This guy.
I love the Sacramento Kings. I've been on the Sacramento Kings bandwagon. I silently support them. Here's the thing. I'm a sucker for reunions. I love the De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Kentucky reunion. I love that shit. Whatever. The Keegan Murray. There we go. Keegan Murray, good player. I like him too. Sabonis, I wanted him the Celtics forever. They just okay. They're just a good, okay squad. They can make the playoffs. On the other side, they're playing a bunch of old men that are just not. First of all, they're not actually playing basketball. The best player on that team is out for a month, Anthony Davis. It would have been the Lakers probably should have just traded him while he had his little heater, but whatever. They have to compete because LeBron, et cetera, whatever. I think LeBron's going to play in this game. You guys will probably, again, know better than I. But they threw away their last game against the Suns. No one played in that game. 130-104. It's tough to bet on the Lakers at any point in the season. And their pace is ridiculous. Why is their pace so high? 102 possessions a game, second on the season. I don't know, man. It's how long has it been since the Sacramento Kings were 6-point favorites against the Lakers? I can't bet on this game, unfortunately, confidently. I lean Sacramento, but man, this Lakers team suck. Daryl, we'll start with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is LeBron James?
I can't tell you, man. I mean, he's still LeBron, man. You know, everything is still close to the vest. He's very, very calculated. You got to understand that. So you're never gonna fully know what's going on with LeBron. But I do believe he's gonna play this game, right? I'll tell you what. As confident as we are about betting the Knicks first half, we kind of need to start looking that way against the Lakers. They're just right under the Knicks, right? They cover first half spreads. So you're going to give it 3 points. It is a short number. I do believe that the Lakers can get up for this game. There has been that old rivalry, from the old long time ago. There was a rivalry where Shaquille was calling them the Sacramento Queens.
Yeah, we won't forget the rigging of the NBA. We don't forget the NBA rig.
That's fine.
That's fine. Chris Webber and White Chocolate. We don't forget.
Yeah, that's fine. But I mean, there is history there. But at the same token, the Lakers going to lose the game. It's going to be in that second half. So if you're going to give me the +3 here, I've jumped on it already. Lakers first half +3. I believe this game can be very competitive. The Lakers shocked everybody. You see what they did to Denver. And Denver is quietly, they were number 2 in the West, right? So I do like the Lakers first half. I stepped on that. That is an official play for me. Lakers first half +3. I do believe that they can come out on top in the first half, if not winning that game altogether. So I do like that.
Daryl, I'll admit, I like that look. I like that look. I obviously don't think the Lakers will play a complete game. That's out of the question, obviously, because they don't have good coaching or good players. But I could think they could put up a good first half.
Yeah, and that's saying that this is saying an absolute lot, because you would feel more comfortable with AD in the mix, right? So why are we even taking the Lakers right now and AD isn't there? But this line is the way it is, and I do believe that they could still maintain a first half. They can be competitive. They may not win these games, might not win a lot of them without AD, but still, first half is a look I like. I'm rolling with it. I've already stepped on it.
All right. First half +3 -105 for me. I've written that down, and I'm going to wait for a little injury confirmation there. I want to make sure that old-ass man is in the lineup. I assume he is, but I'm going to wait until he is, and then we'll see how it goes. I don't bet on the Lakers often, so it'll be a whole lot of fun. And my favorite part about this whole segment is that we went through the whole segment and we didn't even have to mention Russell Westbrook's name because he's a non-factor. All right. And that completes the NBA segment. Boy, oh boy.
You didn't ask Wham.
He don't need to. He already know. He already know.
I know what Wham wants.
He knew what it was. We don't got to talk about this damn game. He knew what to do. Let's wrap this shit up, Jose. Let's wrap this shit up.
Wrap it up.
I know exactly where Web's head. He doesn't want to.
I like that first half though. 0-5 with the Sacramento Kings. They actually have the worst net rating in the last 5 first halves out of any team as well. So I like that first half too. But I ain't bet that yet. Fuck that.
Wrap it up.
I'm glad that you're on that train. Just
wrap it up, bruh.
Oh man, let's wrap this shit
Wham
up.
is funny, man. Wham is funny.
I will recap my plays. If you guys can recap your plays, I'd greatly appreciate it. I've got a lot of NBA plays. I did not anticipate this going in. Got a good number of them. So I'll start off here. Celtics trifecta, first quarter -3.5, -110. First half, 5.5, -115. And Boston full game -10, -113. Shout out to Nasty Nate. We've got Brogdon points, rebounds, assists. When that comes out, I will be betting that up as well. Kevin Durant over 27.5 points, -121. Toronto +1.5 at -110. And the Lakers first half, if old man LeBron is playing, +3 first half, -105. Again, I expect him to play, but I don't trust that fucking guy. So we'll see. But those are all my NBA plays. A shocking amount. I did not anticipate having that much. Wham, please recap those NBAs.
Let's talk about the ones we did make official. Darius Garland double +250. Knicks first half -1, -110. LaMelo Ball over 3.5 3-point makes at +105. All official from me. We're waiting on Christian Wood points, White Dante points, rebounds, and assists, and possibly points as well. And points, rebounds, and assists, and possibly points and assists with Malcolm Brogdon. Expected to be a big game, double type game for him. So we expected to see something there. If everything correlates correctly, we would have those other 3 locked in. So other than that, just the Darius Garland, Knicks first half, and LaMelo Ball.
Very interesting. Do you think White Dante could go down to Bompton? Do you think you'd be accepted in Bompton? I don't know.
Hey, wherever the make-believe places that we create, you could go anywhere, man. You know what I'm saying? Imagination is the key.
Fair enough. I'm just asking the questions. Daryl, how many fucks do you give about your plays today? And let us know what they are.
Yeah, so I don't have any of those right now, but I will put those in the chat. What I have made official
today. Today you actually give some, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I do. Portland -1 first quarter. I made that official. Lakers +3 first half. That is official. I am probably going to get there because if I'm going to take the Lakers first half, the Knicks is the best first half ATS team in the league right now. So I'm probably going to make that Knicks first half official. And Cleveland -2 full game might make that official. Probably going to look at Minnesota first quarter. And that's going to be it for now. But I think I'm going to get to a lot of plays. I just didn't want to rush it. Injury reports are a mess. And I want to just get these numbers together. So for official plays right now, Lakers +3 first half, Portland -1 first quarter.
Beautiful. Nice and easy for us. So thank you guys. I appreciate you both for joining us. The gas report. If I got my haircut in Bompton, I think I would look.
It wouldn't look like this. Nah,
I would look better, and I think
it would have colors in it.
I would be accepted there. I've got a lot of street smarts. I think I would be accepted in Bompton. I wouldn't use any seeds, and it would be okay.
You would last 30 seconds, bro.
We said Bompton too many times. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one, man.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, Daryl. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon, Daryl. It's been a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow. Short slate, but let's get paid, man.
Well, let's get paid. Daryl Rice, thank you for joining us. Wemp doesn't like Bompton, huh? He doesn't like that. I didn't know. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. And Nasty Nate, I do need a fade, absolutely ASAP. But you know, I'm a broke boy. You know, gotta save money for other things. I guess I don't know. Let's talk, or let's move on, I should say, because we've got another guest coming on here. We appreciate you guys. 2 hours and 10 minutes into the show so far. Before we get into the NBA, the NCAA football and basketball, let's hear a quick commercial break here. So rehydrate, get up, stretch your legs. So let's take a quick commercial break to hear from our friends, Southtown 101 and Manscaped. beautiful. Thank you to Manscaped, Southtown 101, and all our beautiful sponsors here at Pub Sports Radio, whether it be Bet Online, use promo code Pub Sports, Manscaped, use promo code Pub Sports, or even our friends at SeatGeek. Use promo code Pub Sports Radio there for all your deposits and whatnot. Fan, this is not. Oh, God, I got these hiccups now, apparently. Fan, don't worry. This is not a 4-hour show. We've probably got another like 30 minutes ish because we've got a NCAA card and a college football game to break down. I will start off this college football game here as our guest Connor Mack Picks will join us here in a moment. And of course, by the way, this is the one thing I didn't make a graphic for as well. So let's talk about the New Orleans Bowl here. Western Kentucky versus USA, the University of South Alabama. Now, luckily for me, I've actually got some familiarity with Western Kentucky, with them being a former Conference USA school. I've seen them play a couple times. They're not the Bailey Zappi offense we know that they were, but still a good offense, and we'll talk about them. They've had, 2 losses this year that I wrote down as marquee losses that I think we can take something out of. Obviously, their biggest game of the year, or let's say one of their biggest games against the year, they lose to UTSA 31-28. But it was a close game and a UTSA squad that obviously dominated this conference. Didn't win their bowl game, but we'll talk about them very soon. Prompto. We'll talk about them here shortly. They also lost a 33-30 game to IU, Indiana. Closer than obviously expected, but Indiana not a good football team this year, not as good. Still, I think they made a bowl, so still a respectable loss there. And that low light of the season for Western Kentucky came in a big game that they needed against North Texas. They got blown out. It was like 40-17, a horrible loss for them, kept them out of the conference championship game for them. And they've had to kind of just chug along from there. They had 2 back-to-back good games there at the end, but ultimately Western Kentucky kind of the 3rd place team for Conference USA for a reason. They're a good offense, but the defense will struggle still. Now let's talk about USA. Mr. South Alabama here. 1-point loss to UCLA. Impressive because UCLA reached some high heights this year. They also lost 10-6 to Troy, and I mentioned that you lost to UTSA or UTSA losing to Troy, and that common opponent now we've got UTSA losing to Troy, and I think I forgot the score was like 18-10 or something ridiculous like that. But they lose to them, and then USA losing to Troy 10-6 is interesting. And it makes me put some red flags up there. I will be very interested to see how that goes. And by the way, Jonathan Maltese, I'm 100%. I'm going to be bald in like 10 years. There's no fucking doubt in my mind that it's going to be a bald boy for me. So shout out to him right there. Oh, look who it is. Let's give him the proper introduction. Let's give him the proper introduction that he deserves here. But yeah, absolutely 100% going to be bald in like 10 years. So shout out to you, Jonathan Maltese. I gotta have this hair while I can have it. DC Capper mentioning as well. I saw him put this in the chat earlier. He couldn't mention it because we're talking about other things. But he said 4% best bet on Western Kentucky, 3% unit money line at plus 150 there. Now, I've set the stage a little bit here. And by the way, South Alabama USA searching for their first bowl win in program history, which I always find to be an interesting note there. But let's talk to the expert. He's an expert on college sports, football, basketball, whatever sport you need capped. Connor Mack has your back. He's going to be back on the show, or back on a show, I should say, on the Pub Sports Radio channel here at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. It's one Miggity Mack. Connor Mack. Hello.
Jose, betting with Bouquett.
Yeah.
In the big chair. What's going on, my man?
Not much. Just got done talking some round ball, talking some basketball with Wham and Daryl. We talked about Bompton. It was a great time. It was a great time all around. We're talking New Orleans Bowl now. A very interesting game. USA versus WKU. Are you a Patriot, Connor? Are you a Patriot? Are you taking USA? Because I was leaning that way with that first bowl win. That they're looking for that first bowl win. That feels like it's a good angle and they're motivated to win this game. 3.5-point spread is interesting. But Connor, what do you have on this game?
Yeah, let's go through this. This game was interesting. It right away, 3.5 went to 8, came back down. Obviously, the news with the quarterback. Reedy's going to go. Flirts with some places, Louisville. Now he's back. We'll hit them in a minute because they got a ton of guys out for this game. Let's go South Alabama here. 10-2. I was on this team a ton all year. And their 2 losses were tough. The 1-point loss to UCLA early on and the 10-6. Great game, defensive game against Troy. And that's what's been money all year for South Alabama. 87 rushing yards they give up, only 303 total yards all game, only 20 points allowed all game. One problem a little bit with South Alabama has been their penalties this year. They kind of rank, I forget what it was. I think it was around 130. So a few too many in that department. But Bradley, good quarterback, good offense. I thought the offense only got better too, depending on the game. They can get into quite a shootout here. So I think they're fine there. And let's go real quick. Nobody out for them in this game in the transfer portal, really. Backup lineman, really, that's it. The wide receiver, he already had an injury. Let's get to Western Kentucky here. We mentioned Reed is back, which is huge. He makes this team because we got a slew. Their wide receiver, Davis, their 2 tight ends are out. They have linemen out. Jaquez Evans, though, their defensive stud, is back, their lineman, and that was key. He flirted with the transfer, over 100 tackles, 8 sacks. He's huge. Same thing. I still have question marks. Their top corners out going to the NFL, and a couple safeties, and I still don't have word on these safeties. Is Allen's going to play tonight or not? Or not there? I have no idea. But that's the one problem here with Western Kentucky, and their defense was pretty good. Very opportunistic, 30 takeaways, tops. Like, I think they were top 10 in the country. I believe 7 or 8 in that regard. So they could give up 155 on the ground, and Webb on the other side can run it. They should be able to run it pretty well, South Alabama. All in all, in this game, now with him back, even with all these guys missing, they should be able to move it a little bit. This has been difficult, but can it get over? Because I don't think their defense, Western Kentucky, like I said, opportunistic, but they can give up points here and too many guys missing. Evans back is huge, I think, at least in the middle for Western Kentucky. Yesterday I was on 2 games. This game I am not going to be on here now that Austin Reed's back, second in the country. I think he can keep them in this now at 3.5. But if you just tell me to win the game here, I take South Alabama. I just don't really want the hook now, and that's basically everywhere is 3.5 now. And also, but I will watch this line all the way the rest of the day just to get a feel. But what do you like here, Jose?
Yeah, I think I'm going to move on USA, you good old South Alabama, but I'm not going to move on the 3. I had the Portland Trailblazers circled as a parlay piece for me earlier, and I was trying to figure out what I'll put with them. I'll just put USA with them. Alabama here, minus 175, minus 160 for Portland. I got a plus 155 for the 2-team parlay. I don't like parlays. I actively tell all my friends to don't parlay. And when I parlay, I should have like a shot collar on myself and prod myself. But a little 2-teamer, money line, cross sport makes me feel better. So that's what I'm going to be rolling with in that game. I don't trust the 3. I agree with you right there. I don't trust the 3 at all.
Yeah, Bradley, he's solid. I mentioned Webb. He had over 1,000 yards. That'll be key. It's just Reed. He's the wild card. The kid can just make plays, throw it around the yard, even with some backup receivers and tight ends. And that's another reason why I'm not just jumping over to Western Kentucky, but he can keep them in this game, I think. And on the flip side, I think they're still missing too many pieces, even though they have, their stud linebacker back. The secondary could get hit pretty bad, corners and safeties. So Carter Bradley should be able to pick them apart a little bit. So not easy. Not an easy one for me in the end here.
Not an easy one indeed. I'm going to hope they get their first bowl victory. Let's go USA. So that is what is official for me in the New Orleans Bowl. Now, Connor, let's talk college basketball here because I'm your producer on NCAA Net Profit. I see how you guys cook. You guys dominated yesterday. You guys had Wake Forest, and in my head, I was silently in the back. I was like, man, Duke, first road game, ACC, Wake Forest, not scared of these boys. I liked it a lot. I took some Wake Forest last night. We cashed, no problem. You're killing it, Connor. Let's continue the ride, and I'm excited. You sent me some games, and let's talk about them, especially because some of these games, some of these teams, near and dear to my heart, so I appreciate it. Let's talk Radford first. Radford, Kansas State, 16-point favorite in Kansas State. I like Radford. My brother went to Radford. That's the only reason why I like Radford. It's in Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
So there you go. My brother also went to VCU, so I have a fandom of VCU and Radford as well. So I shout out to Radford. I get respect for him. I could have went there as well, but I'm not going to back him here. 16-point favorites against Kansas State. No thanks here. Connor, let's hear what you have to think. What your thoughts are on this game?
Yeah, I like this game a little bit. Right to the extra board early here for me. You mentioned it. I don't think Radford's played this well early this basketball ever, Jose. I've been watching them a long time. I'm sure they might have a better year, 10 years ago or so. But this team is gritty right now. I've been shocked. Last game they pushed with Eastern Kentucky. I took them against Notre Dame. They lost by, I believe, 1. They beat George Washington. They just lost to VCU by 8. Early in the year, they went to Marquette. They lost by 10. I think this team in an early game against a Kansas State team that's just – I think they're a little overrated. They got 10-1. They're going to start losing games in conference play here. And Radford's been just great. And both these teams, this is a 2-play for me here. I'm doing Radford, and I'm taking them instead of full game. I'm taking them first half, plus 9.5. I went through their first halves. While they've covered full game, I want 10 here. It's sleepy kind of early game. I have another play here. I am on the under in this game. Let me check the best number here that we have right now. I believe it's 136, 137.5.
Okay.
Let me double check here. 137. Give me 137 under.
Beautiful. Under 137. What was the line on that one?
Minus 110.
Minus 110. And little Radford first half action. You said, and that was minus 8.5 or plus 8.5, I should say.
Plus 9.5.
Oh, plus 9.5. Even better for Mr. Connor Mag. Little Radford action. Little boys. Party school in Radford, by the way. A lot of my friends get hammered at Radford, so shout out to them.
Well, Radford.
Radford. UGA Chattanooga. Next game on the board. Georgia versus is it the Mocs? I don't know.
Mocs.
Oh, look at that. Pull that one out of my ass. Chattanooga, 4.5-point underdogs here. Georgia's just not a good basketball squad. It's obviously hard to be good basketball football team, so I have no respect for Georgia here. Is it a lean towards Chattanooga, Connor? Is it just because they play ball and Georgia just focus on this football?
I think it is a lean here to Chattanooga, to the Mocs. This is gone from 5.5 to 4.5, and I think it's the correct way. Georgia's looked good. They did have a good win against Notre Dame. I like the hire, Mike White from Florida. At least he's out of there. I didn't like Tom Crean. Maybe that'll help him out in the end. Who knows? But they look decent here early. But the Mocs have my guy, Jake Stevens. This guy was money at VMI, the transfer. This kid can drop 30 any night. And he's done it already. Huge. 32-20. This team can shoot the ball, and that's why I want them here. They can straight shoot it from 3. I'm going to come back to this, but I am leaning the Mocs here at 4.5. I really wish there was 5.5, which you don't have anymore, but I think they can hang around in this game. Both teams, Chattanooga, though, touch on the totals, more of an over team. I'm going to stay off the total here. They played a lot to the over, and Georgia's scoring a little bit more as of late. But total-wise, I'm just going to stay off.
Interesting. And I'll say this. I just looked at our friends on BetOnline. Chattanooga, plus 3.5 now, minus 108.
Yeah.
Numbers drop in there. I'm gonna go ahead and make an official play here. I'm gonna add the Mocs here. Give me Chattanooga money line here at plus 155. First of all, I love a basketball team that shoots. That's an easy proposition there. I need a basketball team that can hit from deep. I hear constantly from our mutual friend, Bobano, that their coach, Mike White, the worst. The worst.
Yeah, I know he's not a Mike White fan. But Tom Crean, I don't know what's better. It's kind of, I think they just need to get rid of the old, and I don't know if it'll work out. But yeah, Bobano, not a fan.
Not a fan. So I will join him on the fade here. So give me the Mox money line at plus 155.
I might join you. Did you get 4.5? There's 4.5s out there.
I do not know. I'm only looking at the 3.5.
Take a 4.5. The DraftKings has it. Caesars is a few spots. So.
All right. Look at that. We'll add that as well. The 4.5. Cool. I cannot wait. This is going to be a fun afternoon of action for me. Next game on our card. And, I'm not surprised there's a lot of West Coast teams on this card, by the way, Connor Mack. UC Santa Barbara versus App State. App State, first of all, again, shout out to my best friend, Matt, App State. He goes there. Not known for their basketball. Not known for their basketball here. Literally, I'll give you dumb jock angle here. App State right now, North Carolina is fucking freezing right now. And those UC Santa Barbara boys are probably freezing their dicks off right now. Does that matter for the game? Probably not. But that's just a note that I wanted to put in there. 4.5 point favors for UCB here. It seems kind of light, I'll be honest. Just off the face of it, I would expect kind of like a 6-7 point line, to be honest. So I lean toward UCB, but no official play, obviously, for me. Want to hear what you have to say on this one, Connor?
Yeah, Santa Barbara's pretty good. We're on a neutral floor here in the Footprint Center, a little neutral action in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh,
Gauchos
really?
are good. Yeah.
I didn't know we were still doing neutral courts. Jesus. College basketball is the king of that shit. They'll just pop up a random tournament in the middle of the season, too. It's so
yeah.
funny.
Neutral game here. We got a few today. A few more to get to, actually.
All right.
The Gauchos, I do like them here a little bit. I'm going to stay off the side. Mitchell for them has been very good. They go at a little bigger pace. They're way bigger than App State. They just have the size in this matchup. I think they can win it, but I'm not going to lay this on a neutral floor. I was looking more towards the total. I have not played it. It has not moved really here at 131. Both teams slow pace here. App State, dreadful. At times cannot shoot the ball well. At UCB, like I mentioned, goes a little faster, but they have a pretty strong defense, right around 100, inside 100, in a bunch of stats. I think this game stays, under, is in the 60s for sure. So I'm leaning under right now, 131 in this one. I think this one stays under the total.
All right. A little under lean there for Connor. Obviously, we'll go back and review all official picks at the end, but I like the leans there, under 131 there. Let's move on. Next game, and this is a game that I actually had circled here. UT Arlington versus Cal. And UTA kind of close to here, Texas school, whatever. But Louisville, or I should reverse this. Cal should be thanking Louisville every single day because Louisville's terribleness has shielded Cal from the outcry. Because obviously Cal fans have been watching this, and I'm sure they're pissed. But they have just been horrible this year, just horrible. And I really think that UTA can go in there and beat them outright. So I'm going to lean, and I'm probably going to bet UTA here, Connor Mack. What are you thinking about this one?
I am going to bet UT Arlington here. Off the big win, I get it, but they're going to Cal, who's just dreadful. This team can't win, and they're laying points. Almost 4.5. No fucking way. No way, this Cal team. Could they get the win today? Maybe. This team cannot score. I mean, almost dead last, like 358 in all these categories. Just horrible. Flip to the other side. Arlington, not great either. I mean, whether it's 327, their shots, they only at 29% from three, even at 120. This is a double up for me. Taking Arlington plus 4.5. I'm on the under 120. This one should be maybe 114. I mean, I think first team to 60 in this spot, wins this game. And I think it's very close. I love Arlington all year long. They played LSU tight, a bunch of games all tight. I know they didn't get to Texas State. They lost by 6. I had them plus 5, but came right back, beat San Francisco in a flat spot. They should be feeling real good about themselves. And this Cal team shouldn't be laying any points, just flat out to anybody right now at all. So give me the 4.5. And even at 120, let me see the best number if I can get the hook here.
No, I've got 120.5. A bet online.
Yeah, I think that's the best number. I will take it.
All right, I got it minus 110, so that'll be fun. I
got 121.
I
got 121s here.
Beautiful. Well, 121 action there for Connor Mack picks. Fun game. I'm glad you put this one on the card because I remember you mentioned earlier in the week when UTA was facing San Francisco that would play Cal, and I really think they beat San Fran, but I think this is the game that they had scheduled on this little road trip here. Pac-12 squad go into their place. They're shitty, so they know blood in the water kind of thing. We can beat this squad.
Great.
I like UTA a lot here today.
Real quick, and they pound teams on the board. We mentioned that against San Francisco. It might not have been too easy. They should here against Cal, 15th in the country. Not only good defensively, they hit the glass. I love that. So then that's what will keep them right in this one.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we talked about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk about the marquee matchup of the day. We've got Michigan, North Carolina. North Kakalaki, as my guy Ian would say, struggling. They've ridden the struggle bus all year. They pulled a game out of their ass against Ohio State. Very, very funny that they won that game. Buzzer beater turnaround Jay was really cool. Juwan Howard. It's been, I think, 3 years now of him being at Michigan. Nothing's been really impressive. I wouldn't call him a great basketball coach. He's a pretty good recruiter, but I've really got no particular reason why I would want to take either squad here, to be honest. Michigan's best player, Hunter Dickinson, if I remember correctly, big white guy, just immobile, just big immobile white guy. I can't get there. Sorry. If you're a big immobile white guy and your name's not Nikola Jokic, I'm probably not going to bet on your basketball squad. These are fun facts of the day. And then UNC, I've heard a lot of UNC chatter this year. It's just they refuse to share the ball. Bouquett, Caleb Love, they got all that pride and adulation from beating Duke, and now they thought they were the shit, and they've refused to pass the ball, and they've just kind of been, NBA kind of ISO ball and not been working out for them. Do I trust either one of these squads? No. 153.5 seems pretty high too. So I want to hear your thoughts on this great game. If I'm picking a side, I guess I'm leaning towards North Carolina, but nothing very confident here, Connor.
Yeah, it should be a good matchup. Dickinson, probably on Bouquett should be a good one. Both these teams don't shoot the ball pretty well at all. Michigan a little better shooting the three at 35. North Carolina just been dreadful, right at 30%. But both these teams don't play defense. This total set high. I don't really want to mess with it. It could get there, but this is a ton of points at 154. It's good to see Michigan. Some other the Kobe Buffkin, that kid broke out the other night against Lipscomb. He was a big recruit. They need some other guys. Dickinson just can't handle it. The load all night long. On the other side, North Carolina, I get them being favored. This pushed a little bit. I thought this was pushing too much. I didn't see a 6, so I saw 6 right around there. I go to the other side. I don't think North Carolina should be laying points. Some people think they've gotten straight. I mean, they beat Georgia Tech. It was all right, by 15. And you just mentioned at home against Ohio State in a close one. They ended up winning by 5 and getting the cover. I don't want them here until I got to see more from Caleb Love, Davis. Do they have the athletes? Yeah, but I don't want them to have to win by 6 or 7 here. So my leans to Michigan. I haven't bet it, but that's where I'm looking.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game to watch. This game it's a neutral court, I assume.
Yes.
Is this MSG too? Because obviously the Knicks are playing, and the Knicks are playing tonight. So let us know where this game is too.
Hold on, give me 1 sec.
I think Billy Fruiter's saying this is basically a home game for UNC.
It's at the Spectrum, Center. It's close to Carolina,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's going to be packed with UNC fans. I don't expect many Michigan people there too. So
no.
Well. So
money on the under. Line still moved up. I think the line's basically where it should be. I just thought if it kept moving, which it hasn't, it stopped at 5. I see a 4.5 already a few places too. It's a little buyback, lately.
Okay, a little Michigan love today. Maybe we'll move on Michigan. It's going to be a whole lot of fun there. Let's move on. Another, this is football. This would be a banger. TCU, Utah, -1.5 point favorites. The Utah Utes. People forget Andrew Bouquett went to Utah. I often forget that they're I think they're the only school with the number 1 overall football player and basketball player in the same year. Shout out to Alex Smith. I can't get there with Utah basketball, though, unfortunately. TCU, the only knowledge of TCU basketball I have, and I think that's still there, is when they were in that tournament last year. They've got that big center who he'll get tired in 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes he'll give you, it will be great 5 minutes. So I guess I'm leaning TCU here, but this is why you're on the show here, Connor Mack. What do you have for TCU Utah?
TCU, strength of schedule, almost dead last in the country. Right? They have played 0, nobody. They beat Iowa on a neutral floor. They barely beat Arkansas Pine Bluff. They beat Lamar by 10. Northwestern State beat them by 1. I think this team is a little bit of a fraud. Mike Miles Jr. Is very good. Their lone guy. Utah off the bad loss to BYU. A lot of people. That was a difficult game. I ended up staying off. BYU with the good win there, but it looked like Utah was turning around. Here it is. They are at home. They're not playing at their home court though. Huntsman Center. It's just still in Salt Lake. It's just right down the road. So home game here for Utah. We've seen them already beat Arizona at home. I think they do that here. You mentioned it. Carlson, the big guy. Give him the ball. Pound it inside. I think this is a great bounce back spot here. Basically a home game for Utah against a little bit fraudulent TCU team. Well, give me the 1.5. Utah wins here and covers.
I like that, Connor. Capping the capper here. I'm going to add Utah. Utah -1.5 there as well.
Real quick, let's touch on the line. This line's moved up. Really? A little interesting. TCU's defense, I think, doesn't have been great, but Utah's been good to start this year defensively. So it's been a little interesting. Keeps going up. Because I think maybe it could stay under in this one, but I'm not going to touch it all. Utah just wins here.
All right, Utah wins and covers. 2 more games here with Connor Mack. I appreciate it. We have NCAA Net Profit later today as well. So catch Connor Mack and Bobano doing all the games there. A bunch of games, a little rapid fire, some Q&A as well. So check us out there. USC Colorado State. Why the fuck is USC only a -2.5 point favorite, Connor? Is Colorado State good or is USC just bad?
No, SC is pretty good. They just beat Auburn. Colorado State, I didn't know what to make of them. I thought the other night they were dogs 11.5 to St. Mary's, which I thought was too much. Now to go and win 62-60, didn't really see that coming because they've been kind of hit and miss defensively. It's been high scoring, really bad. They had that horrible second half at Colorado. I mean, they blew them out by 30 or something like that. It was 95-60 something in that one. You know what I like here a little bit more? SC might win this game. This is another neutral game court here in this one. So SC might win here. I don't want to lay the couple points. I'm going to wait here, but I'm looking at the under in this basketball game. SC's defense has been phenomenal all year long. Really, really good. I think they can slow it down. I worry about Colorado State, their defense, but was it just because they played St. Mary's, or will there be a change in this one? Not so sure. Our guy Boogie Ellis had a huge game, 28 points. Boogie Ellis, great name. He has another good one, but I like the under in this one right now. I'm leaning to under 139.
All right, beautiful. I've got absolutely nothing for you there. Those are just 2 teams not in my radar. So underlook for Connor Mack picks, and that's why, again, I'm glad Connor is with me today. Last game on the card, and you mentioned these teams earlier. Obviously, this was a little foursome tournament they were doing here. Auburn, Washington. Auburn 3-point favorites to Washington. I feel like Washington basketball has not been relevant since Isaiah Thomas. Bruce Pearl is keeping Auburn basketball afloat. And you know what they say about Bruce Pearl, character counts with Bruce Pearl. I pass on this game too. I lean Auburn, but I just got nothing for you here. Is Jabari Parker still on the squad? I don't know. Just pass here.
Here, Auburn wants a win because they just had that tough game against SC. Couple losses, 2 of 3. They lost to Memphis here in Vegas a couple Saturdays ago. I worried about this team weren't as good as their start, 9-0. They really didn't play anybody, and I thought their defense was a little bit fraudulent, who they've played in this game. Flip side, what to make of Washington? They are at home. This is, straight home game for them. This opened 5. That was the jump on Washington. Now, Auburn desperately needs a win, but I don't know how easy. I think they have a little bit better athletes in this one. They're efficient. Like I said, their defense numbers show they're well. Washington, okay, too. Gotten in a few games where there's been some points. Total-wise, this could go either way. I thought this could go over. Washington getting a little scoring match. But with them at home, I lean to them a little bit. This is a game I didn't bet at all, but I wanted to touch on some of these big games. I lean that way a little bit with Washington. I just don't know if they can be trusted here, even at home. I don't want Auburn. I don't want Auburn for sure.
Okay, good. There you go. So no Auburn, maybe some Washington for Connor Mack picks. Obviously, chat, let us know what you guys think about these big marquee matchups. Connor, we have completed the college slate. Obviously, there's still some more meat on the bone. So again, check out NCAA Net Profit, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. For more Connor Mack picks and Bobana breaking down all the games, and they answer your questions on any game you guys want at the end of the show. So stick around. Connor, let's review some action here.
We didn't hit on the UCLA game. That's an early game.
I must have skipped that one. UCLA, let's talk about it real quick.
Yeah, let's touch on it real quick.
All right, so UCLA, I mean, always I would say they're the Lakers of college basketball. They've got the big names. I've got Mick Cronin there. Shout out to Jaime Jaquez. The only reason I like him is because he kind of looks Hispanic. But they always disappoint. I don't know. I just never get there with UCLA. I've actually covered UCLA basketball for a little bit for a website when Lonzo Ball was there.
Wow, get you.
Yeah, I know. I've watched. Shout out to Thomas Welsh and shout out to Bryce Alford. I knew Steve Alford should have been fired immediately when he was playing his kid that many minutes, but Bryce Alford, not a bad shooter. I ultimately, 24-point spread here, and UC Davis. I don't know it's like what Charles Barkley said with Angola. I don't know who Angola are, but they better get their ass whipped or whatever the fuck he said. So, shout out to UCLA. Will they cover the spread here, Connor?
I found this one pretty interesting. I really wanted. Okay, UCLA's off the huge wins, massive wins here. All they talked about, Jaquez, Campbell, that game was circled with Kentucky. We circled that game all year. They beat up on Maryland. Now they come back home before they go on break. I think this is the flattest of flat spots for UCLA, even though they're a ton of talent. Mentioned Clark, Jaquez, Campbell, great guards. They played really well defensively. I'm taking a shot here in the dark. UC Davis doesn't play a ton of defense. It's the early start. I don't love overs, even though they've been an over team all year long. I'm taking a shot with UC Davis plus 14.5 first half. UCLA, I think, is just a little flat here coming back home and just a snooze fest. So give me almost 15 with UC Davis.
Beautiful. He's 14.5 first half.
Yep.
I like that. Did you get minus 110 for that?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna make that official for me as well. On top of all those things, the flat spot, etc., fucking nobody's gonna be at this game. Nobody's gonna be at this game. It's gonna be
it's a walk in the park like type. Just that's how I feel. You're gonna just winning.
Yeah, get out. Win and get out. So I wouldn't hate the 24 full game, but I'll take that first half. UC Davis. Let's keep it close. Maybe a sleepy first half for UCLA. I like that a lot. Hey, I'm glad, Connor, that we went back to that because now I've got another play on there as well.
Hell yeah. Let's get it.
So let's recap official plays for us here. So I have a couple college basketball plays. I'll start it off, and Connor, I'll pass you the rock so we can get all those official plays. A little parlay to start it off, and I started off a whole debate with parlays in the chat, and we appreciate you guys for commenting along and arguing amongst yourselves. But parlay will still happen either way. Parlay is USA money line, Alabama, South Alabama, in their bowl game, and the Portland Trailblazers. 2 short favorites. Like I said, I don't love parlaying. I don't do it very often. I don't recommend it, but I like this one. -170, -160 gets you to a +155 for both of those there. I also took Chattanooga, the Mocs, money line at +155. I also took them +4.5 there. UTA +4.5, -110. And UC Davis. Oh, I've got one more. UC Davis +14.5, -110. And to round it off, Utah -1.5, -115 there. Connor, got a loaded card for us? Let us know what you're on.
Let's get it. Radford, first half. I could do a Babano split here. I thought about it, but I'm on the total as well. Under 137, first half, +9.5 with Radford. Next, UC Davis. You hit it, +14.5, first half. Sleepy spot, UCLA. How about Coppin State? Early game, beaten. James Madison. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. UT Arlington, +4.5. This game is ugly. Under 120.5 there. And our last one, lay it. You could take money line, the 1.5. They win here tonight, Utah. -1.5. That's it.
I definitely thought about just taking the money line there with Utah and just putting them in.
Yeah, take money line. Yeah.
So
what, -125?
Yeah,
probably.
I would say I think I'm, and it's minus. Let me double check. -123. So yeah, I'm gonna
There you go.
go ahead and take the Utah money line there officially -123. There we go. A beautiful card there for sure. Connor Mack, thank you for joining me, and thank you for breaking down these NCAA games with us. We'll see you back here again, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 Central for the little NCAA net profit.
Yes, check it out. Break down this whole huge card on this Wednesday. And shout out to the chat. I know you guys were talking about other stuff, but not a lot of college basketball talk, little argument talk today. But I'll let it pass. It was a good back and forth. Positive vibes, baby.
Positive vibes.
Us against the bookies. Shout out to our guy, J Money. Is it shirt here?
It is. That's a nice shirt. Shout out to J Money. It is us against the bookies. Thank you, Connor Mack, for joining me. I'll see you in a couple hours.
Let's cash early, bro.
Cash early. Connor Mack picks. Thank you for joining. All right. And look at this. Yes, Rocco, we still get a net profit with CMAC. Don't worry. 2 hours and 50 minutes. Maybe I should make fun of Jimmy for taking so long after all. But let's recap our plays here officially here. Everyone else's plays were recapped during the show. I can try to recap them, but obviously I would recommend rewinding back on checking them out. I believe Wham and Daryl were on the 2 hour and 7 minute mark. So go there. And then I have all Bobano's, and you just heard Connor's. So we will recap my action and we'll touch on some of theirs as well. All right. So NHL, Montreal +235, Edmonton +131 money lines there, respectively. We've got NBA action. The NBA takes up a lot of the action on my card today. The Celtics trifecta, first quarter, first half, full game. First quarter -3.5, -110. First half 5.5, -115. And -10 full game, -113 there. Brogdon points, rebounds, and assists. Excuse me as I try to get a burp out there. Brogdon points, rebounds, and assists. I'm going to double check right now our friends at Bet Online to see if they posted it yet, because obviously it takes them a little time. No Brogdon yet. No Brogdon yet. So keep an eye out there. If Marcus Smart gets officially ruled out, I'll be moving on Brogdon points, rebounds, and assists. KD over 27.5 points, minus 121. Toronto Raptors plus 1.5, minus 110. Lakers first half plus 3, minus 105 there. And I already mentioned the USA money line, Portland Trailblazers money line at plus 155. And just as I just mentioned, Chattanooga money line plus 155 and the plus 4.5 there. UTA plus 4.5, minus 110. UC Davis plus 14.5, minus 110. And the Utah Utes Utah Utes money line now. Money line, not minus 1.5, money line at minus 123. Thanks everyone for watching. We appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming in. DC Capper, thank you so much. DC Capper, I'm going to be watching that Western Kentucky USA game very intently, because if you and your Western Kentucky cash hits, I'll be talking about you tomorrow, because you're very adamant about that, and I respect it. And I will definitely be watching and seeing how you do there. So shout out to you, my guy, DC Capper, Rocco Rogers, Leonard Porsche, Joe Orthan, I think that's how you say it, AOD, Billy Friedrich, all you guys, Dab Fam, Rob Free Truth Teller, Razor Sharp Picks was in here for a little bit, Oliver Page. I know my hair is crazy, guys, but we ride on. It's not going to get any better throughout the week. I can promise you, and I can guarantee you that. Paul Vu, all you guys, I appreciate everyone for joining us. Big Show Picks, Mr. Always Profit. Jimmy the Bag was here in the beginning as well, so shout out to him, and shout out to Carter as well. Sorry, Joe, I'm a shitty reader for sure. I apologize, Joe. Oh man, that's hilarious. It's just not going to get better. 25 years and learning English is just not going to get better, guys. It's going to be fun. But a long show, and we'll be back here again tomorrow. I can guarantee, I'll tell you guys this, only 2 NBA games tomorrow. It's going to be a quick, just kind of a blow through breakdown by me. So probably not any official plays, but only 2 basketball games tomorrow. So won't touch on them very much, but we do have a full 8 NHL games. And we'll have Mr. Ghoster on for tomorrow, and we'll break down the Thursday night football game, because obviously it is important to my heart and well-being. So thanks everyone again. Dad Fan Joe, Paul Vu. I'm on USA Moneyline. I put them in a parlay. So you do with that what you will, is parlay with Portland plus 155. If you want to tail at your own risk. We'll be back again tomorrow, guys. Till then, don't forget to say hey. Shout out to Say Hey in baseball. Carlos Correa, welcome to the East Coast again. And we'll see you guys next time.